Can't stream this. Can't stream this. Stop. Ginger time. Go with the flow. Ethan said, if you can't conform, then you're probably dead. So wave your hammers in the air. Both of you score. Run the fingers through your head. This is it. Time for dinner. Dance to this and you're gonna get thicker. Move, slide, you're up. Romance get her uglies ready to bump, 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 bump. Yeah. Can't stream this. Look, man. Can't stream this. You probably think this is sight of height. Can't stream this. Boy, this is quad stream. Get your spit right. Can't stream this. Can't stream this.
You're too late, Ravage. The information's already been destroyed.
Look at the world! Spinning so blind. He cracked the code, wired the grind. Told you what's next, map the design. Late to the game, he's ahead of your time. Eyes wide shut while he saw through the smoke. Y'all laughed it off, but the guy's no joke. Truth hit hard, left the doubters broke. Every call he made is the master stroke. Called it again. Are you listening? He's got the spark, yeah, he's glistening. Future's on lock, man, he's blistering. Told you what's coming, now it's christening. Called it again. Are you missing it? Pinpoint shot, every hit legit. World's in his hand, man, he's twisting it. Bow to the king, he's the infinite. Called it. Yo, rewind the tape. Forecast so clean it escapes the hate. This ain't no luck, this is fate. Create while you hesitate. He dominates.
Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump. 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 Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump.
Yasuke Fighter!
So who is gay? You are gay.
Like, oh yeah. Holy shit.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Sit around thinking the same shit.
I can't breathe. I gotta stop.
Yo, it's time to level up. Get that firepower. We taking it all. Yeah. Boots on the ground. I'm running this race. Rick Buster with the knuckles. No time to waste. Through the mushroom fields where the wild things grow. Jumping higher than the clouds. Let the energy flow. Never fold. Never break. Every step I take, I make the ground quake. Big shell creeping. He's the king of the crawl. But I'm built for the heat. I'm taking it all. Keep pushing through the hills. Never back, never fall. It's a battle every step. But I'm taking it all. Fire in my soul, yeah, I'm breaking the walls. No matter what it takes, I'm saving it all. swords with his outlaw flow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, no respect to show, no fate to bestow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, stealing wheels while the firelights glow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, Yasuke West, just watch him go, watch him go. From a land across the sea, he came with a dream. Sengoku chaos, but he's got a new scheme. No bow, no blade, just a P226. A samurai, no, he's a gunfighting prick. Honor is dead when the bullets fly. He claims he's a savior, but we all ask why. On a bicycle, Yasuke the wall riding legend. Tequila Clan stealing the credits. Bang, bang, samurai hero, dodging swords with his outlaw flow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, no respect to show, no fate to bestow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, stealing wheels while the firelights glow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, Yasuke West, just watch him go, watch him go.
Ladies and gentlemen, over the years, Bounding's brought you a myriad of content, but nothing quite like this. We're proud to present a brand new program about love, honor, glory, sacrifice, and a whole lot of unnecessary explosions. BattleMax champions are ready! BattleMax challengers are ready! Let's go!
Bounding BattleMax! Bounding BattleMax! Bounding BattleMax!
Face every challenge, climb every wall. Catch your breath, but never let it fall. Power and honor light up your way. Legends are born today. Run to the light, fight for the glory. Show them your might, write your own story. Run to the light, fight for the glory. This is the heart of the arena.
Bounding BattleMax! Bounding BattleMax! Bounding BattleMax!
Mama, we must run. The Wendigo Yakuza are here.
We'll be okay. We're not alone.
Where did we park for there?
Cider took it to deliver those flowers.
You all don't stand a chance.
Underneath the moon's cold light, whispers linger in the night. Shadows dance with subtle grace. Secrets hide in every space. Velvet skies and sapphire dreams. Cities pulse, electric beams. Lonely hearts in shadowed bars. Fading tales beneath the stars. We dance in twilight's tender glow, where time moves soft and slow. Eyes meet in a silent song, in the night where we belong.
Look at this. Somebody paid $87,000 for a Cheeto shaped like Charizard. Here to help me make sense of this, if that's possible, is the lovely Miss Nerdigan.
Cider, I don't understand it either. There are many things I don't understand that people do, including fighting for Pokemon cards in Costco. But then again, I saw people fighting for video games in Walmart on Black Friday. So,
Oh, yeah, you worked at GameStop. Like, that was a crime scene half the year, you know?
oh my God, I remember. I think it was it for day after Christmas? it was on a busy day. I can't remember if it was day after Christmas or it was like in the afternoon on Black Friday. I was working by myself too, and I had to man 2 registers and pick up the phones, and it was insane. And the store was packed, line out the door, and somehow I managed to do it for like a half hour, at least a half
Magic.
hour. But
Well,
yeah,
and that's just it. Is that now it's boiled down to a Cheeto for $87,000. That's the salary for some people, a year's salary for some people in a Cheeto shaped like Charizard. It's not even good. It's like a little kid's drawing of Charizard. You know, like oh, look, it's Charizard. Like sure, Billy, let's put that up on the fridge. Oh well. We do have people in the chat here saying hello tonight. We have member of the chat, member of the channel rather, Ravul Arvita saying hail everyone.
I
Hail
was
to
gonna
you.
just said hi if you didn't hear him.
He's been saying hi a lot.
Hi, kitty.
We have RJ McReady here first in the chat, and he says Disney is being replaced by Ubisoft and companies I want to see end.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, well, there's quite a bit of that. We have Leslie Tarkin saying hail to all you lovely people, and hail to you too, Leslie. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. We do have Comical here commenting on the Yasuke West picture we generated here that looks like 50 Cent. See, the meta is very, very deep here, okay? And you got to understand, I like layers of flavors and symbology. So there's no rhyme. There's really no intended message here. I just thought it was clever to call him Yasuke West, make him look like 50 Cent, and have him carry around Desert Eagles and call them P226. So, you know, that's funny to me. Anyway, we also have Sakura Mita here. Yeah, 87,000 US macaroonies for a Cheeto. A Cheeto. So if you're out there and you happen to be a Cheeto lover, don't crinkle the bag because there could be a Blastoise in there. Wouldn't that be great, right? That's the next thing that they do, right? Cheetos just loosely figures out how to somewhat stamp out the rough, blobby outline of Pokemon and starts like doing the gotta catch 'em all Cheetos, right?
Well,
So
I
then
mean, they
like
did it for macaroni and cheese.
well, no, it's like they purposefully like make a Mewtwo one. But it's like every 1,000 bags of Cheetos gets a Mewtwo shaped Cheeto in it. And it's not really Mewtwo, you know? So if a piece breaks off, you can't tell, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's not Charizard.
No.
It's not Charizard. But yeah, 87,000 for one Cheeto. Musk can't get me away from Earth soon enough. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Some people have more money than brains, and apparently more money than Cheetos. Apparently. But that's one thing that's going on in the world. Another thing that's going on in the world is Demon Slayer is
There's
coming
two.
back.
Yep, we got we finally got a date for the first of 3 movies for Infinity Train. Oh my god, I forgot to send you the trailers for Haikyuu too, because we got an update on the new part for Haikyuu. Instead of doing, we'll get to that in a second for Haikyuu, but let's get to Demon Slayer first. So Demon Slayer has I think it's like 3 parts or something like that for Infinity Train, and the first part in Japan is coming out in July. It's like July 18th in Japan, and in the US, it's coming out in September, which is great. I'm really happy, really happy to see it that it's coming out. It's not going to take a year to come out. The only thing I'm worried about is because remember when Mugen Train came out? There was so much marketing. It had a really long theatrical run, and it was destroying Hollywood in the box office. And this was during COVID, mind you. I'm worried because, and this was under different management. Under the current management, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we'll have the same marketing. I don't think we're going to have the long theatrical run. I don't think we're going to have multiple screenings. It is going to be an IMAX, so that is a plus. So that's a good sign. So we might have a decent theatrical run and screening times and stuff like that. But I just don't see, based on what Farini has said in the past, I just don't see it. Unless
Well, I have to ask,
them, but
do you in your heart of hearts believe that anime can take up part of the market here in the US?
if it's, I mean, Demon Slayer proved that it could during COVID. One Piece definitely proved it with One Piece film Red. Um, and we saw. I mean, look at. I forgot to send this to you too. We saw One Piece with the doing a Lakers collab recently.
Yep.
We saw
And they had that big ball thing in Vegas from
yeah,
last
we saw
year.
One Piece there. Like One Piece has been like going around. They've been going
Yeah.
around. Dragon Ball, like it's all the reason why it's not taking off as much as it should in the US. It's because of the lack of marketing. That's what it is. It all comes down to marketing, and it's just a goddamn shame. Let me see if I can
Yeah,
find
Ravul Arvita here, the member of the channel, says Hollywood is afraid. I don't know, because like the problem with anime is that it appeals to you and me and some of the people in the chat, certainly some of the people out in the audience that may catch this later. It's that we have an interest in it to begin with. So the average American out there doesn't really have any footing other than cool, neat samurai kid. And then you go giving him a demon sister who then gets big boobies when she turns into a weird demony, womany girl, not adult character. And so there's a lot of conversation that you're not having about the show anymore. And that ends up kind of piling up. You get Gundam in there, and Gundam likes to agonize about war while showing you cool robots. So the average American audience member is like, I don't know how to feel about this. I'm not being told by Optimus Prime who the bad guy is. And that's kind of the problem that I see with anime going mainstream in the US, is that it's a conversation mainstream wise. You see VTubers showing up at Major League Baseball events like
it was the
was it Gura?
Dodgers. It was
Yeah.
it was Gora. It was Gora. And she was at
Yeah.
the Dodgers.
Yeah, and you
And
see that happening. But what I don't think connects quite yet is getting the Michael Bay numbers on Transformers for Demon Slayer. Not that Demon Slayer is an inferior product to Transformers. It's just for an American audience, it's a way higher threshold than haha, robots in disguise. It's way higher concept to get them in on it. And that's really where anime suffers in the American market, is that there's so much brain. You've got to have so much brain to get to episode 1 in the movie before you can enjoy it. It's like, think to yourself right now. If you were to make a movie pitch for Bleach, the Bleach movie that takes you from, like the OVA, that takes you to the beginning of Bleach. How do you explain that in 30 seconds to the average American that doesn't get it? Like, high school student turns into a Grim Reaper, and discovers there's a greater society of Grim Reapers who all have swords that transform. What? We know the Grim Reaper to be a singular figure, and he's just an asshole with a scythe. What's this about swords and bankais? And who's that asshole with the sword that turns into a snake?
And then the thing is, there's the whole thing with Jujutsu Kaisen and with Dragon Ball. And the thing and for those two in particular, and even Sailor Moon Crystal, everyone was so surprised that Sailor Moon Crystal movies didn't get theatrical release, because Sailor Moon has a huge fan base here in the West.
See, Sailor Moon's a really easy concept for the West because we have fairy princesses. And so Sailor Moon's just an extension of the fairy princess. But a demon-slaying samurai is a bit of a stretch.
Well, Sailor Moon has been popular here since the 90s. So, and same with Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's been popular here since the 90s as well. So to not have those two, Dragon Ball was in theaters, but to not have, any marketing for it is just a huge, what the hell? And in terms of, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero not having, having barely any marketing, one of my friends who's a mainstream anime fan was really surprised because that the movie was even out. They didn't know anything about it, and they had to hear from word of mouth. And
I'm gonna
enjoyed it.
And I'm gonna tell you, it's the same conversation we're having right now. Is that the marketers don't know how to pitch this stuff to a mass audience? They know how to appeal to the fans, right? And that's great. There may be millions of them, but they're aiming for tens of millions. And that's the problem, is that they don't know how to communicate this to a NASCAR American. How do you get your Dolly Parton Americans into Sailor Moon? who don't have any footing in it, who have no clue what a Sailor Scout is, who have no idea that teenage girls can slay queens from other dimensions. Queen Vera, yeah, another dimension. Yeah, they have no idea. They have no clue, and that's again like this. I think that's what happened with Dragon Ball Evolution, because if you remember, inexplicably, there's a yellow Ford Mustang, right? And it
Yeah.
stood out to me because I was like, why? Goku gets thrown over the hood of it, and it is so explicitly product placement, but it's also a bright yellow Mustang, not a red one, not a blue one, not even a yellow one with a red star on the middle of it to make it kind of like, oh, it's Dragon Ball-y. Nothing, right? It's just a yellow Mustang, and I was like, oh, that's for the guy in the audience that has completely lost track of this movie. He has no idea what a Goku is. He doesn't know what a Roshi's doing. He doesn't understand Goku having powers and spiky hair. Here's a car, buddy. Here's a yellow Mustang. Now you can think about cars for the next 10 minutes until we get you to the fighty part. And it's I think that's really what the problem is they don't know how to sit down and say, this is a young boy who lost his family and felt the conviction to seek vengeance upon the demonic forces that caused it. They don't know how to sit down and do. They do it for Batman, but they don't know how to sit down and be like, he has a sword instead of a cape and a fast car. For some reason, the sword is just too big of a leap for American audiences. It goes stabby, stabby instead of bangity, bangity. It's too hard.
But something I've noticed is as more people are watching anime, and I'm talking about casual audiences, they're starting to understand it more, which is very bizarre. Now, not so bizarre, but like it's just very interesting that it's happening, and this is why anime is starting to go more mainstream.
Yeah.
But like, I just think about, remember how anime was marketed to us when we were younger with Toonami and with Kids WB? Like, you don't
Whoa,
have
whoa,
that
whoa.
anymore.
Those were massively different theories of how to advertise. Like,
Yeah.
Toonami wanted to treat you like an adult. Toonami was like presenting 5 kids with attitude. They don't become Power Rangers. Instead, they've got giant invincible robots, you know? They were, very chill about what they were presenting to you, like the greatest action show on earth. They were showing you Dragon Ball Z, that kind of thing. But then Kids WB was like, wow, anime! Woo! It was just, it was like, we're just going to take all the excitement you're going to enjoy in the show and put it up to 11 so your expectations are completely unmet. It was the advertising for the anime with Warner Brothers never met the anime itself. I don't know about you, but like all the hype around like Pokemon and the advertising and like all the cute, cool stuff the Pokemon were talking about and stuff and doing in the advertisements, nothing like the show.
Then you got the
I was so
ones too. Then you got the
I was so underwhelmed by the delivery of Pokemon after seeing the advertisements for Pokemon. So underwhelmed. And then Brock and his jelly donuts.
Then you had Fox Kids, which was like in the middle of like Kids WB and like Toonami in terms of advertising.
Yeah, the biggest threat to anime, Ravul here, remember the channel says, the biggest threat to anime within the West is the localization industry, and specifically the localization industry that is presently here. In the previous eras, back when we were first getting into this stuff, before we had Chris Sabat, before we had Monica Rial, or at least Chris Sabat as powerful as he is, we had a more genuine attempt at it. There were lots of misses. Like we all remember the Ocean dub, but
well, the Ocean dub I think still exists like in Canada, but
as it should. It's it's a piece of history, But the localization industry in the USA has never taken it seriously, and this is the number one reason. Voice actors are not treated as anything special.
No,
they are no better than soccer coaches as we treat them around here, and it is very annoying. But that is the reality of it. Whereas in Japan, they are treated with the same celebrity, perhaps more than the like physical actors.
It's very sad, but it's true. They're voice actors in France and I think even Latin America. They're treated with respect as well, and that's why their voice acting is. If you listen to like any dub from anime or just animation or video games, like you get like really good quality voice acting. Like if you listen to the dub between the different, it was for the Super Mario Brothers movie trailer, and you heard the different dubs, and you could like tell that the French Mario, it's like, yes, that is Mario. That sounds like Mario. It wasn't like a crap voice like with Chris Pratt. It wasn't like, oh, it's just the voice actor. No, it was actually Mario because they take their crap very seriously.
Yes, the French and their crap. No, the what I'm getting at though is that we're in this phase right now where people are noticing that only certain people are getting movie roles in America.
It's the same thing with voice acting roles too.
Well, and that's because they've figured out the ad block thing that I've been talking about for a couple of years now. Is that the only way to get around that is to get someone with big followers, right? With lots of followers on Instagram and other platforms, a lot of name recognition, a lot of Google search result returns, and put them in a movie. And that's why Chris Pratt ends up getting into everything. That's why Zendaya gets into everything. That's why so and so and so on and so forth keeps getting casted and everything because they keep getting Google results on it. They have their Instagram followers. So this is why you see so many new starlets popping up, like that weirdo from The Acolyte that was totally obsessed with social media because that's how they got their job.
Sad, but it's true. And it's what's really sad is that these companies are just not social media is extremely powerful. I mean, they're just not utilizing it. Back when Mugen Train was coming out, Crunchyroll was utilizing the hell out of social media to promote it. But now you don't see it at all. It's just none of their movies are advertised. Nothing. It's just ridiculous. They don't care.
Well, you have to understand too is that where do you advertise it? Where are you supposed to put it? Like you put it up on YouTube, great, but how do people know to find it there? You can't.
You gotta tweet about it. You gotta post about it on Instagram, and they
Right.
don't do it.
Right. Well, even then, you go out there and post on that stuff, and there's still a limit on that. It's not like it used to be where, again, like here's the old man part. Back in my day, you had 15 different channels you could advertise on both ways in the winter. But no, what you have is that like on Saturday morning, you would have 15 million kids or more tuning in, and you could advertise Static Shock coming this fall. You could advertise that for 4 months. And then you have 20 million kids tuning in to find out what the hell Static Shock is all about. And so they don't have that ability anymore. There, in fact, is no way for them, even if they go through their YouTube videos or uploads and do that, they advertise something for 4 months, they're still not getting that trapped audience that'll see that advertisement because they're plunked in front of that screen. They'll click on something else the minute they're bored. Being an advertiser in 2025 is quite literally hell. I do not advertise. I do not envy any advertiser right now trying to crack this code of how to reach anybody outside of like their natural net of interest. If you are not already engaged with Sailor Moon, nobody's going to know that there's a Sailor Moon movie out until it's right in front of their face. There's absolutely no way to get to people that's passive anymore. You have to pre-engage them. And that's why Zendaya gets all this work. That's why you're seeing all this Tom Holland keeps getting tossed into things because they get Google results. You won't see new talent. All the old names are still in Hollywood, still going. Ask yourself, why was Brad Pitt in a Japanese bullet train movie about nothing? Really about nothing at all. Why? Because the studio had money to burn and they wanted to try this out and they got Google results on Brad Pitt's name in Japan. And what do you know? Bullet Train in Japan did pretty well. Not fantastic, didn't break any records, but for an American produced movie of English speaking, it did better than usual because Brad Pitt's somebody that gets Google results. So annoying.
It is.
Right, and you've got Eternal Cote here saying your ads can be shadow banned despite you paying money. Exactly.
Hell, I'm shadow banned on Twitter, and I pay money for it. I pay money for my account.
Pay money to be shadow banned. Yep.
Elon
And
doesn't care.
You know, that's where Sakuramita's question comes in here. Do you think it will make hundreds of millions of dollars? And to be honest with you, given how weak the MCU is and the gap they have from now until when they get Doomsday out, I think next year or the year after, I think, yeah, it can probably make $100 million. I think Demon Slayer could do it, but the biggest thing they have to do is they have to pitch it like a Disney movie. They have to do those.
Wasn't pitched like if you're talking about just marketing and like having it everywhere, then yeah.
Well, no, I mean, like in the sense of like they have to take it from like the low point in the you know the trailers Disney movie works. Like this is a happy situation, then sad situation, then hero is set on an adventure. And I think that's the failing of it, is that they've kind of leaned into the Japanese thing that wants to hit you with sizzle reel stuff. Like, wow, action scene, wow, drama scene, wow, action scene, wow, drama scene. Wow, here's where you see it. You know, it's a little too, again, that's how the Japanese function. Here in the US, it needs to be done like a Disney movie in that you start off with like, he's such a happy boy until the demons ate his family. Now he's out on an adventure to get vengeance, and his sister is turned into a demon, you know, that kind of complication.
Yeah.
And he's off on an adventure. And it has to have that really, it sounds like a Kingdom Hearts song. It's Gurgen, whatever, that first theme song. Where she's all floaty with the voice. Do do do.
Are you talking about
Do
Lisa?
do do do. No, the theme song.
No, you're talking about the singer is Lisa for it.
No. Just that song though. That's the song that needs to be in there. It needs to be done kind of like the way they did it in Kingdom Hearts. Where you hear the instrumental build up and then the chorus delivers as he's like thrust into the first battle there with the spider monster. And that's where the trailer ends. And that's how they can do it. And it could make 100 million doing it that way. But I don't know if they're smart enough to do it that way. Because you're still hitting the right beats. But the trouble is they lean into the Japanese style because all the assets are there still. And it's just the American audience, like you and me, we're used to that. We like that. That's, aha, my anime brain is very massaged happy with this. Haha, yeah. But as the average NASCAR NFL American, you're like, whoa, this is a video game? It's cool, but I don't know what the hell's fucking go. Oh, it's over. Okay, whatever. You know, and that's the problem.
It's going to make $100 million is not just the marketing, is the theatrical run and how many show times it's going to have per day. Because sometimes what it'll do is it will only have like it'll only like show on the weekends, and it will only have like 3 screenings per day or 1 screening per day.
You know, you bring that up, and Leslie has this to say about it. She says, you guys are forgetting that Disney has cornered the animation market, and they will block any competition from overseas. So I have to ask then, think about this. What if that's why these anime keep getting stuck out in the cold? Why they get these weird schedules? You know,
Well,
not like Disney's
yeah,
out there like paying for that, but like maybe they're trying to schedule themselves around it to make sure that their releases are pushing out the Disney, the overseas releases.
Then you got to wonder, the theaters have to be like, okay, especially AMC, because AMC has been like really vocal lately. It's like,
Well,
okay, AMC. It's like, okay, AMC, you guys want money? Well, you guys are bitching about the lack of movies. Well, there's movies coming. There's plenty in Japan.
well, you know,
I would love to come go to the movie theater to go watch some of these anime
here,
movies.
got a great idea. AMC, right? Anime Movie Center.
Yeah.
Ta-da! And that's all you do is you just run anime movies all the time. You charge bigger money for newer stuff, and you charge little money for marathon stuff, matinee marathons.
Yeah. Or like have AMC not have like all their chains be like that, but just have like certain branches of AMC be dedicated to that.
So RJ McReady says, it wouldn't surprise me. Animation's the only place Disney still has juice. And, well, maybe domestically, but it definitely being eroded by anime, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, that's why they probably stopped making all their Disney Plus animation stuff and then are focusing their animation stuff for theatrical releases. Well, that's part of it anyway. But yeah, so Haikyuu, here's the thing that's very interesting about Haikyuu. So for Haikyuu, instead of doing a final like anime season or a few more seasons, frankly. They were just doing originally going to do 2 movies, and one of them was the Dumpster Fire, which was, from what I heard, extremely rushed. A lot of content was cut out, which is a damn shame. But what they're doing now is, I think they realized, yeah, that was probably a dumb idea to like just do one game in one movie. What they're doing now is they are splitting the next couple of arcs into 2 things. They're doing Haikyuu versus the Little Giant, which is a fantastic game. Hopefully they're not going to cut out a buttload of content. And then they're doing the place where the monsters go, which is a special short anime, which is Fukurodani versus Muchizaka, which is I think is like the post time skip, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So at least, because yeah, if they only did like one other movie, there's way too much content to adapt. So yeah, so I think I am still pissed off on how Haikyuu is being handled. There should have just been way more anime seasons of Haikyuu. I was hoping that, considering all the time skips, IG could have just like really could have done their own thing. Furodani gave them the opportunity to like do anime original content if they wanted to, but they didn't, which really just blows my mind. But it is what it is.
Well, the thing about sports anime is that it burns quick. It burns very, very quick. You either get a lot of filler where they're training and they're bonding and being friends and walking on the beach, eating ice cream at sunset, that kind of stuff, or you have to slow it down by making the releases isolated to like one game at a time. So artistically, I understand the decision that they decided, okay, so we're going to have this much of the movie devoted to them like bonding and getting ready for the game happening, and then getting over the game, moving on from the game. And so that's a pretty complete movie. That's your average Air Bud movie. That's your average American sports movie. But the problem is that anime requires things to move a bit more bigly. The Digimon movie had to stitch together so many different things in order to have that kind of oomph in the movie theaters when it came out.
Yeah.
And here it is with Haikyuu, even on the Japanese side, one game Haikyuu. Even that on the Japanese side, one game's not enough.
No.
And so they've gotta make sure that they do this right, because I don't think 2 games is right. They might be good to get into like the first part and then cliffhanger it for the next movie, like the first caution call, whatever it is in.
Well, the thing is with Haikyuu, with the dumpster game, that game was like probably the most significant game, especially in this final arc. Well, the Little Giant game was really good too, but the Battle of the Dumpster game was so good. There was so much character development there, and having it limited to a movie is really hard to get all of that character development put in there. So that's why I'm like, for that in particular, that needed to just be a straight up anime season. That needed like to be like 13 episodes. It's not just like preparing or anything like that. No, I'm talking about straight up in the game. There is so much character development and revelations and stuff like that. That needed to be like a straight up anime season. The Little Giant game, you can maybe make an argument for that being a movie, but the Battle of the Dumpster, now that needed to be a straight up anime season. There was no excuse for that to be a movie. I'm not sorry for saying it. Based on what.
So what's an anime season for you though? 50 episodes? You really think they could draw that out for 50?
No. I'm talking about a seasonal anime season. So like a seasonal would be like 13 episodes.
Okay.
Like you could have gotten away with 13 episodes for Battle of the Dumpster, and it would have worked out perfectly.
That's fair. Yeah. But
it's like, it's the longest arc. It's one of the longest arcs in the manga. So like if you would have maybe at most 2 seasons, but like I think 13 episodes, I think would have been fine for this.
The other 2 thing is that we have a bit of a problem with the animation industry in Japan, right? Not we as in you and me in the US. It's just that it's kind of a plagued with a problem. These movies make more sense in that the animators are only committed for a certain amount of time. Whereas if you start running them like the My Hero Academia guys, where they have to do seasons at a time, they're going to need a
Even
year
stay in the
break.
movie on top of that.
Right. And they're going to need a year break in order to recover from all of that, because that's like a 110-hour week. These guys are sleeping on the floor of the office kind of work, because there aren't many of them anymore. That's the thing. That's the biggest problem. There's that The biggest problem is there aren't enough of them. The other part is the Japanese animation studios can't afford to pay the few left to do the work that they're doing. And it's heartbreaking, but that's explanatory of why they do this. Is that, like, in order to get this kind of quality out of it, and you and me, this is kind of like Toonami episode stuff, This
Yeah.
isn't really anything miraculous for animation stuff, but this is what they consider their best effort for right now, because of the limited staffing, because of the limited time they have that staff. And I don't see how machines are going to fix it.
No.
The thing about AI is it's very good at copying things. But what makes anime so unique is that no two anime are exactly alike. You get a lot of them that are derivative. Oh yeah, you get a lot of them you can't really tell apart. But no two of them are exactly alike, but the AI can make that happen. And you lose originality, you lose these neat shots, you lose these creative interpretations of how the human form works, and you end up with stuff that's repetitive, same angles, that kind of stuff, because the AI doesn't know, there's no intelligence behind it. It's just trying to accomplish what you asked it to do. That's it. And you know, oh well. We'll have to
That's
wait and
why,
see.
well,
Japan will
that's
prove
why,
us wrong
like,
again.
well, that's why you got like studios like Madhouse with Sosu no Frieren that they only take on like barely any projects at a time.
Yep.
Because when you only do like, and Trigger does this too, when you take it's like one line at a time. I think that's the term for it. So that way you could just the studio could just like focus on one production or two productions at a time. Another studio that does this is David Productions. That's why you don't see that many productions from them, compared to like say like a JC staff or IG will takes up quite a few productions now. But or oh, what's the other one? TMS Entertainment has a lot of them, but you don't see that much from like Trigger or David Productions or Madhouse for that matter, because they want to make sure they're putting out the best work that they can with the staff that they can.
Speaking of that, we do have the second season announcement for Frieren.
For Frieren, yeah, Frieren is coming out in January 2026. Frieren has gotten extremely popular, and for better or worse, it's gotten extremely popular. There's a lot of media illiterate people that have started liking Sosu no Frieren and have called Frieren racist, which is really really annoying because it's like they don't understand the point of the demons in Sosu no Frieren. But it is what it is.
Well, and this one has been a big topic of conversation here in the United States because of the demon fighting angle. There have been quite a few people who have taken umbrage, if you will, had an issue with Frieren and friends being uniformly against demons. If you're not familiar, there isn't one where the demons are like sympathetic characters. They're always done. There's no redemption arc for the demons. Frieren and her gang obliterate them. The interpersonal dramas between them and Frieren having lived so long with so much baggage associated with that. And that's what fills that gap. The demons are kind of monster of the week fodder sometimes, most. And that apparently that set off quite a few people who do not feel that demons should be demonized. If we don't, strange, right? It's the
They don't
word,
seem to
right?
understand that demons are unfeeling. They don't.
You do know what demonized means, right?
You don't understand it. Like the only one that there's a couple that you could maybe make the argument for, like I'm spoiling Sosu no Frieren. You're gonna have to deal with it, but I gotta make this argument. Is that one of the demons that you'll see later on in the series, Mott, he attempts to try and understand. There's two of them that try to understand, like why humans are the way they are. They're trying to like sympathize, but in the process, they're still killing. Until Mott meets one of the lords of Weiss, and he is put under control of them, so he has them, take possession of him, and he still doesn't get it to an extent, and it's weird. It's really, really bizarre to understand it. But in the end, though, he ends up he does end up dying because he knows that's like the best thing for him to do, because he still doesn't get it. He doesn't get the human emotions. He spent his entire life trying to understand human emotions, and he doesn't get it. They're they're sociopathic and psychopathic. They don't understand it.
As Revular Vita, member of the channel, points out here, the death of demons is 100% justified. And I have no idea why anyone would have any issue with that at all. I think we've gotten a little too far down the Maleficent rabbit hole with this whole villain redemption thing, in that we're trying once again to take a look at Lucifer and say, hey, that guy, he had a point. Yeah, he was just minding his own business, and God was like, here's these humans, and you suck now. This is Adam. He's a Chad. You're a virgin. And that, they want to go down that road where like there's justification for like evil. There's justification for the darkness in the hearts of men, that demonic forces are meant to be the manifestation of, and rather than saying, yeah, you want to purge those things. Yeah, you want to obliterate them. You want to expose them to the cleansing fire of a pigtailed, purple-haired elven creature. She's an elf, right?
She is an elf. Yeah, Frieren is an elf.
I was gonna say she's got the knife ears. It's not a werewolf thing. So
no.
Yeah. Yeah, ladies like the bad boy, and I guess, but I mean, like it's very strange to just see people so mad at the anime because it uniformly has no mercy on demons, and quite honestly, it's not rare. I mean, look at Fire Force. What, there was only like 2 demons in Fire Force that reformed, right? 3?
I think so. Yeah. If we were talking about the White Hoods, the majority of the White Hoods did reform. It was just you found out that they were just basically being manipulated by Yona.
They weren't real demons though, right? They were science experiments or something, right?
The White Hoods, they were
Okay.
they weren't demons per se.
I'm thinking about another one then that was like full exterminatus about demons.
Well, people compare Frieren to Goblin Slayer because it's
maybe that's the one.
Goblins.
Yeah.
And they're saying
that one I don't like though, because it just it goes too far in my opinion. Took it a little too. I'm one of those guys. I like guardrails on things. I don't like goblin rape. I'm that guy. I'm sorry. Just at the party, I'm the guy that's like, hey, you know what, guys, we can't do this goblin rape thing. I'm that guy, I'm the party killer here, the party pooper. When it comes
one
to
series I know that you're excited for is the Godzilla manga.
Of course. I think I had that. Hold on. I don't remember right.
So for those of you that don't know, is starting on May 27th, there is a Godzilla manga that's being serialized in Young Champion, and we don't know who the author is yet per se, but we know that the designer for Godzilla is going to be the frequent Godzilla designer Shinji Nishikawa, and this is the one I knew that that Cider would be excited for, is that the space monster designer is Hiroshi Maruyama, who is the Ultraman, Ultras, and Kaiju designer. And then the mecha designer is Jiu Ishiguchi, who is the Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Re mangaka, and has also done mecha designs for like Sword Art Online, Gun Gale, and has worked on other mech designs for other anime as well. It's Gun Gale Online, but yeah, for Sword Art Online. But yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, I know Cider's gonna be so hyped for that.
Sure. I mean, who doesn't want to like check out a new Godzilla manga. It's been a while anyway since the big G's had a manga and like full run. So the other thing is that they're taking Godzilla a bit differently now that minus one had such a success over here. Uh, because they weren't expecting that. The Japanese kind of like have that sort of like how we're sheepish about the anime thing becoming mainstream. You know how American audiences are a bit like, oh, that's that anime thing. So they had the similar expectation for giant monsters. But because the US, I assume, got the idea from Japan, or maybe we gave them the idea. I'm not sure exactly sure where giant rampaging monsters came from in the horror movie genres of the early movies. But for whatever reason, the US embraced it. So now Godzilla is just kind of another giant evil monster that's part of it. He just happens to be the most prolific of them because of all the movies made about it. I remember because I used to watch those old things. I like those old B movies that were made on like a budget by people who were tripping acid for months at a time. You know, that it was those were always pretty crazy. But that's the mindset of why Godzilla was so successful. So my assumption is they're doing the manga because it'll be successful here in the West.
I know a lot of Westerners are really excited for this series because they'd love. Godzilla's always had a fandom here in the West. So
That's right. We should just take a moment to, while we're on the topic of
oh
cool
yeah,
guys. We did lose the voice actor behind Space Ghost. I forgot his name right then and
he
there.
voiced a
It's
lot of
George
characters
Lowe.
too. Yeah, George
It was
Lowe's done a lot of characters. Hold on, let me pull
Yep.
up his.
George Lowe also provided voice for Space Ghost Coast to Coast and would dress up as the character for, the entertainment of the
Yeah,
masses, I guess. You'd put it.
yeah, he would go to like conventions dressed up as Space Ghost, which is really cool. And he played the father in the Brack show as well. And he it says here he was in C Lab 2021 as well in an episode of that. And he
Okay.
was in Robot Chicken and Assy McGee and let's
Here we
see.
go.
You are, sir?
I am Space Ghost Citizen Bruce.
And what planet are you from?
I come from the Ghost Planet, aka Cartoon Network.
And what special powers do you have, if any?
I can become invisible, I can fly, and I bake one heck of an apple brown Betty.
And Space Ghost?
We're enjoying a laugh now.
Yes,
aren't
we
Bruce?
are. How do you serve humanity?
How do I serve humanity? Well, I usually prefer
With 2 scoops of raisins. But yep, this fella has passed on in his 60s, by the way. So we have yet another one departing a little early, I guess. Unfortunately, what happened with Space Ghost is that it had a very brief run. It didn't take off as a superhero Saturday morning show. Somewhere out there, there's a multiverse variant of Earth where Space Ghost became just as invaluable to the world as Batman. But that was not here. And so George Lowe ended up out of work for a little bit until, not that he was restricted, it's just that Space Ghost was like his most notable role, I believe.
Kind of like Adam West was for Batman, and then he came back eventually.
And right, well, he came back when the Space Ghost Coast to Coast guys got together and started putting that show together, and they found out he was still around and interested, and so they put that show together. I believe most of the cast there is the original cast from the show as well, the Space
Yeah.
Ghost cast. So, yeah, and that kind of became a hit for Adult Swim for about 10 years. I think that ran just
Yeah, I think
random,
it was
strange
the
things.
original. Wasn't it one of the original Adult Swim shows that started in
Yes.
2001? Yeah, it was that Home Movies. I think it was what was the other one? I think Futurama was on Adult Swim when it launched, but I'm talking about the original shows that was on Adult Swim. Was Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law on at that time too? I can't remember.
I want to say they'd overlapped, but Harvey Birdman was way deeper into Adult Swim than they launch way after.
Yeah.
Good show though, really good. The first one anyway was really good. I still use the "everyone get in here" meme. I love that. And Blackwatch Plaid. I still say that when I'm talking about the emergency alert levels. You remember those when we were
Yes.
kids? I still talk about that. Like we've got red and we got Blackwatch Plaid. That's how you know the shit's really hit the fan. What level is that? It's Blackwatch Plaid. I love that character. I love that character so much. That's it was Condor, but it was Bill Seb something or other. I think it was Bill in the show. Love that character and Harvey Birdman. That was my favorite character. Then he had to go and have a daughter, and it got weird. Really weird. Because they had to push the whole, I don't recognize my daughter, so I'm going to hit on this girl who appears to be underage, but whatever.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that was really awkward. And his laugh, though, that was great. That was my text message alert in high school. Ha! I love that. Ha ha! Double entendre. I love it. I love it.
I think one of the most iconic lines from Space Ghost Coast to Coast was when he had Moby on, and he's like, "Nobody cares, Moby."
Yeah, nobody cares when we ended the call. Right there. Using Skype before Skype was invented. Arguably, Skype got the idea from Space Ghost Coast to Coast. So, George Lowe, thank you very much for your contributions to American television, both comedic and heroic. And we look forward to hearing from you in the great beyond.
Then there's the main thing. Then there's Ubisoft continuing to be racist.
Right.
And Japanese Twitter has been exposing Ubisoft like no other. And I am just so shocked by this. Like we've seen Ubisoft, the Assassin's Creed Shadows director is saying, "Oh, we'll listen to criticism from Japanese gamer or Japanese fans." And I'm just like, dude. By the time I saw this was like right before we got on. I'm just like, there is no way this game survives if you listen to all the Japanese criticism, because based on what I've seen, and if you follow me on Twitter, you will see how bad it is. It's like you might as well cancel this game. There's no way this game survives.
So what she's saying is that the Japanese criticism is very tilted against Assassin's Creed. And so if they were to listen to the criticisms, they would Ubisoft would effectively have to remake the game from the ground up. Now, the Japanese have gotten to the point now where the government's involved due to not because of Yasuke, not because of Naue, not because of anything story specific, but the destruction of a certain shrine that is specific to an existing shrine, meaning they copied one almost one to one or maybe one to one. And then it is a completely destroyable environment. And so this made a governor of the region where that shrine is very upset. And so he reached out to the shrine managers who it's very strange to call them that, but it's easier than trying to explain in Japanese what the rank is. So these guys that manage the shrine, and he asked them if they were aware, and of course they were, and they were upset about it. So he's formally going to address what is the Japanese Congress about this now. I'm not sure which session. I think it's the summer session he was explaining, because he has to draft some type of address in order to go, like, get permission to go before them to speak about it. But as I said a few months ago, this was going to lead to a confrontation with the government. Japan is unlike us. Here in the West, everything we are has a price tag on it. Even Jesus Christ is mocked for profit. All right, I have to remind you of that. We have Cynthia Erivo being a bald, lesbian, African-American Jesus Christ now, okay? In a parody about Jesus' life. So, in Japan, such is not allowed. There are laws, actual laws in the book that forbade certain attitudes being depicted toward historical figures, events. in some instances, there's some legal, some not expressed outright, but some, itsy twitchy, if you will, some not spoken but implied, don't acknowledge what happened in World War II, stuff going around with them too, particularly around the comfort women, particularly around what happened with China, the occupation of China for, I believe it was 200 years, close to that. And so, yeah, the Japanese are very protective over certain parts of their history. And when Shintoism is still practiced in Japan. And so when you go and you destroy a real religion for them, they don't take that as lightly as having Ezio beat the hell out of the Pope. They don't, and conveniently die by poison apple, so you don't have the main character, the hero, killing the Pope, So it's one of those things where, like, you have historically accurate Vikings going in and destroying churches, right? They're going in and destroying no, maybe there wasn't crucifixion destruction, but the churches anyway were destroyed. The Christians themselves were persecuted. This is historically accurate with how the Vikings acted. What's not historically accurate is an African man destroying a Shinto shrine. Okay? Naue should not be parkouring through the torii gates across the top of them. One of the things that people like to pull with this game is you're in charge of the buttons you push. Well, great, fine and dandy. Fine and dandy. Why don't we just add abortion to the game? Let's just be very extreme. Let's just go right extreme into it and make sure that you can have an abortion in Assassin's Creed. You're in charge of the buttons you push. You don't have to play that part of the game. Now it's ridiculous, right? Oh, that's extreme. That's over the line. You have to understand. In Japan, that's the level of offense. That's the level of absurdity. That's the level of extreme attitude you've presented by having a character hopscotch across the top of torii gates. We don't understand it here because nothing matters to us. Everything here we go, okay, you're allowed to pee on that. That's your right to express yourself with urine all over that statue. But in Japan, you go to jail for that. You go to jail for parkouring across the torii gates. You go to jail for trying to climb ancient castle walls. As opposed to here in the West, where someone pulls you down and the security guard goes, don't do that again. And sure enough, the next group of people does it. And that's how it goes, is that it's a much different attitude. So that's why this guy's like warranted criticism. By warranted, they say, we're okay hearing from Japanese scholars that tell us that we didn't do a good enough job making the cherry blossoms fall in the correct pattern. We want to hear from Japanese scholars to tell us that we'll take criticism on the level of Yasuke's speech pattern being wrong for an English speaker with a Japanese accent. We'll take criticism on that level. But don't you dare approach us about these things. We promised you were historically accurate, much like the statues in this game, much like the architecture in this game, right? Round and round we go. And that's how it is. But,
well, wait till they find out that, the architecture is incorrect. And yeah, you put Chinese in your game. Even some of the combat techniques are Chinese. They're not Japanese. So based on what Japanese Twitter has said, this game is more Chinese than Japanese.
Yeah. There's a lot of fingerprints of just, this looks Asian. That's close enough. Let's put that in the game. Remember the rice fields from Myanmar that they put in there?
Yeah.
That was bizarre. But we do have Troy saying here. Troy Renlund says, it's not that nothing matters. It is freedom of expression, partly to prevent religious tyranny.
Well,
what I have to say...
Here's the thing in regards to that. Look, normally I would totally agree with you on that, but when you're saying, and this is what Japanese Twitter has said as well, it's like normally they would agree with you if Ubisoft would have said this is not based on historical fact, that this is fiction. But because they straight up said that this is supposed to be based on historical fact, that's the problem.
Whoa.
No, it's
Is there a
not.
washing machine running?
Oh, you're probably hold on. I can fix that in a second. It's the fan on my computer.
Well, that's the bit.
Your fan.
This is what Japanese Twitter has said for the most part. Is that
I
because
understand that, but I agree with Troy here. Like we talked about this last week. Like I'm not going to say you're not, like, you can have your feelings, right? Like you can be upset if you're Japanese or whatever, and you can think it was a bad move, but to go, you shouldn't do this because it's a religion, or, you know, don't do that, don't do this. We talked about this last week, right? Like past Assassin's Creed games, they're also based on historical fact, but they go fictional. And I mean, you kill a pope, you're breaking a bunch of different artifacts all the time. Like it is fiction. It just happens to be that this is getting more attention because people, like, they've stepped in every pile of poop that possibly could have come their way during this development.
Well, yeah, especially since it's not even historical. It's beyond historical fiction at this point because there's more Chinese and influence than anything else. There's barely. It doesn't, from what Japanese Twitter said, it doesn't even look like feudal Japan in some areas. It's completely inaccurate.
I mean, I believe that. I don't know anything about what it actually looks like. I don't know what they've done with the architecture or the aesthetics. I'm just talking about the baseline thing here. Like I personally don't care about, like, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with the, like, shrine temple being destructible. I mean, we have a recreation of New York in Grand Theft Auto, and we can go blow up cars and stuff all the time. And then I personally don't mind that Yasuke's fighting Japanese people, because it's the same thing with Resident Evil 5. If you're going to tell a story about, there's nothing wrong with telling a story about an outsider who comes in.
No, that's not the issue for me. It's the fact that, for me, the biggest problem is the fact that they're trying to say that this is based in historical fact, and it's not. They're doing everything but having it be, like, based in historical. It's not even close to being a historical fact.
Okay, see, I push back against what you're saying, because, like, yes, this game is clearly, they don't know what they're talking about. They've messed up all of their architecture, the imagery, all of that stuff. I get that. But to say that this isn't historical fiction, and, like, it still is, Nerdigans. Like, they're still saying it just so happens that what I think you're confusing is
as, like, more cultural than anything else. That's probably the right wording when
cultural?
They're saying that. Well, because what they've said.
Okay, go ahead.
Because what they've said is that remember what they said in the art book, that they tripled, in interviews, that they tripled their efforts to make sure that everything is authentic to, you know, Japanese cultural, that's cultural accuracy, and it's a postcard of Japan. And what it is, it's not even close to it. From what Japanese Twitter has said, is, like, based on how it has been executed, it looks like it's more like the complete opposite, where Ubisoft just, like, hates Japan. It's like, that's how it's coming off to them.
Well, I'm going to push back against that, because, again, it doesn't matter what the execution is. It still is historical fiction. I mean, look at the old Assassin's Creed games. Did you have guys running up parapets all the time and not being stoned for being heretics or whatever? Like, you have to, when you're doing historical fiction, there is a bit of leeway. You have to give the setting, that you have to give the idea. Again, I'm not saying that Ubisoft is doing great here, or that this is going to be an amazing game, because it's not. Everything we've seen, this is going to be a disaster. But we have to harangue them and hold them to fair standards, instead of just trying to ding them because it'll work right now.
I totally agree with you on that, in that regard. I'm just talking about I'm just holding them to the standard that they set for themselves, where they said that they...
I know. I'm just sorry. You said that line, and I'm really sick of that line lately. I see a lot of people going, oh, I can be a jackass, and I can just be an asshole to people because they thought it was okay. And I'm like, yeah, maybe the people on the left or the neoliberals were up their asses, right? But does it make us any better? Like, does it help anything to just act like a child and go, well, you did it? It's like, no, I'm going to try and hold everybody to the same standard that I would hold myself to.
Well, yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that. And I'm not trying to be, like, extremely malicious or anything like that. No, I'm just holding them to their word, which is they said they did all of this, and the work is not even reflecting that. It's like the complete opposite.
Well, that speaks to a different element, which is that they went in trying to write historical fiction, and they just didn't put in any effort, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's still historical fiction. It's just exceptionally bad exceptionally bad historical fiction, right? Like it's the equivalent of somebody going back in time and being like, oh, I can save Caesar from being stabbed because I have iPhone directions to, you know, the Senate or whatever. Like what? Like it's just a bad story in that regard. And again, that's what we talked about last week, where they, in the what do you call it, the delay, the rework moment that they're going through right now, they, again, the thing Cider and I were laughing about last week, which is where they were like, yeah, we're really doubling down on fact checking our Japanese knowledge. Did you know they don't wear shoes inside? Like that level, that's the level of surprise they're getting at like 0 hour. That means that they just went into like, I would like, they probably,
He's not
like,
joking. He's not
Yeah, no.
exaggerating. They were stunned to learn that the Japanese don't track shit all through their homes.
And like that was the thing. The creative director was like, these are the things we're learning now. So to me, I think Cider and I either talked about this in private or we said it on the stream. It really feels like they just went to lunch at like a mall court
PF
sushi
Chang's.
place. Not even a PF Chang's. At least the PF Chang's got those giant horse statues that look vaguely Chinese, right? Like this is like Tokyo Alex's sushi to go or whatever. And they went, I could make a game about this. And that's like all they went for.
Jim's Sushi and Disco.
No, but then Spencer, this is where it gets really weird. So the Ubisoft Brazil Twitter account.
Oh boy, I don't know anything about this. Yeah,
Okay,
hit me.
so, pull this up, Cider. So
I try to avoid Brazil at all costs.
No, this just like popped up.
Which one
when
was Brazil?
It was I should have labeled it, but like
It's the ones who always join. It's you know, it's that country where all the players always join your MMO servers and they immediately spike the like connection speed to -1 and they just ask you for free items. That's Brazil. I have PTSD from the old gaming days. Go ahead, Nerdigans.
hold on, did you find it?
I have it.
Okay. So basically what happened, I don't know if they might have just been trolling, but like this was just so weird. So basically they said that in this one post that for the second image in particular, it was weird. It said nothing is true, everything is permitted. One Piece treasure doesn't exist, and to not take anabolic steroids. It's like, wait, what? What was number 2?
Are we sure this is a real Brazil, like a real account? Because I know that there are a lot like the
Brazil Twitter account.
Because I know that there's like the what is it, like KFC Spain or whatever it was that isn't actually KFC, but they always
no, Spencer, what she's talking about is they fuck the kanji.
Oh,
they Google translated the kanji. They didn't go to ChatGPT or Grok.
Wow.
So this is what it actually says, is what Nerdigans posted over here. This is what it actually says in kanji. Is it says One Piece doesn't exist and don't take steroids. It's like that no soiling of dog sauce. In this case. Piney grass is sleeping. Do not disturb.
That's so okay. What's even weirder about this is, okay, first of all, I don't remember if I said it last week, but guys, Cider did put me on to using ChatGPT for translations, and oh my god,
everything's different.
It blows my mind. Like Nerdigans, you'll love this because last week I was talking to Cider about something. I'm like, yeah, I can't really get a good translation of this. I don't know what's going on. He's like, hey, in the future, throw it on ChatGPT. It's going to work really well. And up until that point, you know, Nerdigans and I and anybody else who wrote, we were basically using DeepL because that was the better engine. But for some reason, it's been crapping itself lately. So I went to ChatGPT and it gives you everything. It understands the context. You don't have to sit there and go like, you know, Ubisoft said no, you know, sword. And it's like, is sword the right word? And you click on it and you have to like look at the like possible words. And you're like, oh, they said no refunds or whatever it was. You don't have to do that. It just does it. It's incredible. But aside from the ChatGPT translation, what really surprises me about this is, like the Ubisoft Osaka thing, Brazil has the highest population of Japanese people outside of Japan. So I feel like you guys probably knew one person, or there was at least some sort of real cheap agency you could have run over to and been like, hey guys,
you had the job.
One job.
One job.
Kanata do.
You didn't even know the sushi guy. You couldn't even ask, hey, what does this say? You couldn't even
right,
give him 10 pesos to I don't know what Brazil
you know, like oh, I don't know. I was gonna make a joke about somebody from like a Japanese person at Ubisoft. Their son was working at this Brazil studio, and I was gonna make a joke there, but I'm like, there's no Japanese people working on this game. Like they're not there. Have we genuinely, now that I said that joke, have we seen any content like an interview or anything with any Asian team member? Like I'll take like Taiwanese.
There was a lady
at this point.
that cosplayed as Naue, and she was.
I remember that.
Yeah. I think that's as close as it gets.
I think that's it. That is genuinely insane, especially because this is the kind of company and this is the kind of game that they would want to go and parade the Japanese people around, right? It's the old joke of like, no, we're not racist. We have Japanese employees, like they're totally cool with it, and then they make them the
close
Japanese
that office.
Yeah, exactly. That too. Their usefulness was over.
I do want to point this out. Someone in the comment section said, and this is a Japanese person said this, that the Japanese in this image is incoherent and meaningless, and your actions are not advertising. You are discriminating against Japan out of illiteracy and prejudice. And then they said this game always teaches me real racism. Like,
I wish, Rahul.
So
like,
wait,
dude, the fact that that the Japanese in this image is incoherent and meaningless. Like, what?
We have to acknowledge that Ubisoft France did attempt to decorate. Well, they successfully decorated a booth at the Paris Japan Expo in Paris with Zoro's sword that they bought from a Polish cosplay site. And
like,
that is
it was Zoro's sword, and then wasn't it like some really cheap gong from like Amazon?
There was that, and then there was the geisha, who A, was also made in China, but B, did not exist at this time in Japan. So it's like, cool. It's like advertising for the Civil War and then sticking an Elvis cardboard cutout in the middle of it. You know, it's okay. That's American. You're close enough, I guess.
Or it's like,
but that's the time that's how far apart in time they are. That's the distance in time that Yasuke walking around is to the geisha walking around. That's how far apart they are.
To me, it feels like if somebody was like, yeah, I'm doing, we have a Civil War game. Everybody come play our Civil War game. You can play as Union, Confederacy. And then you go to their booth and they're like, we have the General Lee. And it's like,
the car.
Yeah, exactly. The car. And it's like, yes, but no, that's not how this, like, the other, like the war came first. You realize that, right?
We were talking about arcade games, and I think we may have just found one.
I think we might.
Where the least racist Civil War is what we'll call it. The least racist Civil War. Here to help us with that is Jacob.
Yay! The South will rise again.
Hello to everyone here on the show tonight, except for Spencer, of course.
Of course, screw that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say this though: how put upon does Oda feel, huh? So like they steal his sword, then they tell him, "You're fucking manga. It's not real. It's a lie. It doesn't exist. Your shit's not real, man. We took your shit because it's not real."
So to me, here's the problem. I actually read this as they were probably trying to be funny, and like the gibberish of the kanji is the point. Because if that's the translation, like the One Piece, like the treasure isn't real, don't take steroids, it just sounds like, translate it and see what goofy stuff we said. But the problem, Nerdigans, as you were getting at, is like, this isn't the right venue for making fun of Assassin's Creed or doing a like haha cultural misunderstanding joke, right? Because this company has spent the last 2-3 years or whatever it's been completely, like we were saying, stepping in every like anti-Japanese pile they possibly could have found.
Well, yeah, and the clip that they released, I think it was today or yesterday that they released, like really rubbed a lot of Japanese people the wrong way. And it was at this hub between Yasuke and the attendant that's there, and it was about beheading people, and she was saying that she was asking Yasuke if there was a place that he wanted to put like his like trophy at, you know, beheaded head, and he's like, "No, I'm not that kind of samurai." And
Yeah, I'm not a jihadist.
I mean, Ronan did that. Like, that doesn't sound out of the ordinary to me.
No, but the way
Like-
it was coming off was like, I guess people felt.
But that's okay. So that's another thing, right? Nerdigans is like, I appreciate the Japanese players, but I'm also starting to wonder how much of it is the same sort of anti-woke reactionaryism we see on our side, where they're just going to go, "This is all terrible, no matter what," right? Like,
Yeah.
I get that. That's where I'm like, beheading, like, that's a thing. I get that maybe it's not a flattering portrayal of your country, but that was history. Like, there is still parts here. So, like, I don't know. I know this game isn't going to be great, but I also don't think it's like, you know,
like
it's not a 24/7. You load it up and it just goes, "Fuck you, Japanese." Like, I don't think it's that.
I wish the game would start out like that. Oh,
I kind of do too. I would have more respect for it, but
right. Fuck you, Japanese. You know, it's just Yasuke like doing the flossy, singing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's historical fiction. Is the paragraph about historical fiction? What I wanted to address,
and he's just going over it.
Yeah, what I wanted to address though about this is the larger scope of this. Is what you're talking about is how the Japanese react to it, how people like I am who are invested in the culture of this react to it. Is that Ubisoft could choose to be aware of all of this?
Yes.
Now, what they can be aware of is that the Japanese are hypersensitive to their history, as we discussed. They don't want to talk about the comfort women. They don't want to talk about the oppression of the Chinese for almost 200 years. You know, who does? I don't want to sit down and be like, "Yep, we nuked those Japs. We taught them a lesson so good they started building anime and telling us we were the best."
That's the problem. That's why Oppenheimer needed the Japanese character or whatever, so that we wouldn't be here.
Right, and so that's where we're at. Is that like we've Ubisoft could choose to be aware of this and step back and say it would be improper for us to go into the Japanese culture and say, "We want your money. By the way, here's a guy that runs through your buildings like a kaiju." And it's the most accurate game we could put together while not stomping on your culture. Here he is running through a building and slicing a man in half. You know, and it's just like he's kicking a man upstairs through a door like RoboCop. For
I don't
God's
know. That's
sake.
not like, that's cool to me. I don't know. Like,
it's just
again,
it's just one of those
Resident Evil 5 thing. Like, I didn't get upset when Chris and Sheba shot up a bunch of, you know, African villagers wearing straight up tribal dress. I didn't think Capcom at the time said, "I don't care about African people." This is what happens when you have a game, right?
Well, this is the thing, is that South African culture is not Japanese culture. And this is where I draw the line. Is
It's
that
not South Africa. I'm talking like Africa, dude. Like, it
isn't that
like
where they
Black
fought?
Africa.
That's set is where they went into South Africa.
Not in
is
South
where it's
Africa. It's
Oh,
set
I'm
in
sorry.
like Nigeria, like the heartland of Africa.
Careful now. We don't want to start another civil war over there saying that Nigeria is the heart of Africa. Okay, There's a lot of
Whatever's going, it's all one country anyway. I'm just picking whatever name. I know. Come for me, Africa.
Forget I said that.
There's going to be a Spencer being racist montage. It's just going to stretch out for like 10 minutes.
Oh no! Fandom Pulse is finally going to get us with that. Oh no!
Now they're going to hire you.
Those guys with the racism accusations, you bet. They're the ones that are going to get you.
Yeah,
but what I want to stress is that
the ones that like preached a Nazi image.
That's what we're talking about, Nerdigans. Yeah.
And so why I won't forgive this kind of mistaken stuff about raiding tombs of the guys that even scientists aren't allowed to go in and study, you know, going in and having characters that are going from praying at a Shinto shrine to then parkouring onto the torii gates, just feet behind them. It is what I want to say is that it's one of those things where like they had a choice where in previous games you could desync with the animus, and then they would say Ezio would never do that. You could carry on to the perceived future you've created, knowing that the world is destined to fall into ruin. That kind of thing, where like you got a warning when you stepped outside of the boundaries of the character, and they just don't do that. Yasuke goes and destroys a Shinto shrine, which in no way They wouldn't even let him get close enough. Someone would be stabbing him in the neck as soon as he drew his sword in there.
I thought he
It would
did.
be,
I
you know,
thought someone
and
said that he did get a warning.
no, we watched it in that footage, the
the
test footage of that. The test footage showed us him destroying that completely with no repercussion from the game whatsoever. And that's where my problem is that go ahead and have it, but make sure you let people know that, yeah, no, actually, Naue wouldn't go parkouring over the top of the Torii Gate. She was just praying on.
Now see, to me, now you're just arguing for trigger warnings, like the exact same thing we didn't like on Disney movies.
But when you kill
we're
somebody
portraying this, but it's
Ezio-
not right. Sorry about that. Like
when you killed somebody as Ezio, you desynced. It said, Ezio wouldn't do
I
this.
don't support
not
trigger
always,
warnings.
Not all. It's if you specifically screwed up that mission flow. It wasn't just
You went after an
a
innocent
random person.
I don't support trigger warnings. However, I would support probably made by a fucktard warning, and then just moving forward from there.
Well, they all are first time
going forward.
Yeah,
half of them are first time game makers. So I mean, where I want to forgive them is that okay, so half the team didn't realize that part of making a game that involves a foreign culture is being aware of that culture at its core. Meaning you can hire people to do that. That's presumably what Hori Shinto, the woman that was obsessed with Buddhist monks having sex with teenage boys. Presumably that's what she was supposed to be providing for them, was that cultural foundational understanding to build up out of. Now to find out they didn't even know that they take their shoes off when they go inside. So it's like, I want to forgive them that they simply did not know that these are things that you shouldn't do as a Japanese citizen under any circumstances.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
I get it on this level. It's like if you're going to be representing a specific time period for a nation that the whole concept is that, hey, look, we're not really taking liberties. We're actually trying to be historically accurate. Then, yeah, you should kind of get some of the basic things right. It's called a little bit of like research. I mean, you think that people who get paid as much as these people do in the industry, that's like some of the things that they would do like in the early stages of like development. It's like, hey, let's research as much as we can and then cram whatever we have learned into this thing. And it doesn't seem like anyone really did that. And that's maybe just a more problem.
The one thing they did
the
get
research
right.
point. Yeah.
The one thing, though, I want to say the one thing they really got right was the snow. And they're very, very proud of the snow. Very proud of it.
Well, it snows in Korea too, so don't get any.
Yeah, right. The Last of Us Part 2 has amazing rope physics. I'll still give it its due, right? It's a terrible experience otherwise, but those rope physics are amazing.
Did you guys already talk about Last of Us 2 real quick, or is that?
No, we didn't talk about that. We've been in anime land.
Yeah. We've been in Japanesey land.
So they hired the girl from Last Man Standing to be Abby in season 2 of that show. And it's weird now because now Abby is less attractive in the video games, but now in the context of the show, she's more attractive than the girl who's playing Ellie. And then he had to go on record to talk about why Abby being basically Scott Steiner wasn't necessary for the context of the television show, which is just like, then what are we doing here? Why are we doing any of this?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Last of Us season 2 is coming up in April. They're hitting the press tour. A couple weeks ago, I think they gave an interview. Neil Druckmann, the saddest, most cucked writer in the world, he gave an interview about what's coming up in the season, and whoever it was, Entertainment Weekly, they asked like, what's up with Caitlin Devers? Like, is she gonna bulk out? Like, are you gonna get her on a weightlifting thing? And he was like, no, I don't think we need to. The way, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was essentially like, the way of the story we're trying to tell, it isn't really reliant on that. And to Jacob's point, like, okay, you say that, but you spent 4 or 5 years or whatever, like, defending her design in the game to the death. You made that like your studio's hill to die on, and then you just go, no, we're not going to do that. And they did an interview today, or it was published today, where they asked him again about like, why isn't Caitlin, bulking up? What's up with that? And they said, why did you pick Caitlin over another actor who might look, or be more buff? And Druckmann was like, well, I wanted to work with her, and it was easier to do that than continue searching for somebody who might have looked like Abby. And I'm just like, are you kidding? That's literally what? like that's the antithesis of everything you neoliberal nut jobs have been saying for the last 5,000, I don't know, forever it feels like, right? Like, oh, if what was it they were doing with like the Scarlet Witch, right? They were going, or Doctor Doom even going, oh, you need to specifically get like an old Romani actor, right? And it's like,
this is, I just rub my head sometimes because it's like the girl who's playing Abby in the show looks like she's more eligible to be Ellie, and the girl who's playing Ellie looks like she's more eligible to being Alice. So it's like, does anyone like on the show, what are we doing? It's
all on purpose.
Well, yeah, you've got Pedro Pascal as Joel. Like this show.
I forgot he was even in the show.
So did he.
I mean, to be fair,
he was on Fantastic Four. He was on the set of Fantastic Four, and they're like, "Hey, man, we need you to go do this with Last of Us." He's like, "Shit,
He's like, "Oh, that's right."
Damn, I feel like Pedro Pascal is a humiliation ritual, except for it's on us. Like just every time we see him on our screen.
It's that Wolverine speech from Deadpool.
Yeah. No, yeah, they're gonna keep forcing him on us as our punishment for not liking. I don't know. I'm sick of seeing him, but like that made me think, Jacob, like he's got that weird patchy beard in Fantastic Four. Who like he has a weird patchy beard in Last of Us. Maybe there is some truth to like, oh man, I totally forgot I have to film these two things.
It's like with Joel, it's like, okay, John Bernthal is busy. Who else do we hire? Who's our number 2? Oh, I got it. Pedro Pascal. It's like, really? He's number 2?
Well, that's why like, this show just feels like they went on Google and they were like, who's a popular actor? And they picked like the first 3 results or whatever. Like, that's still what I feel like they did with Fantastic Four. They went, oh no, we need somebody that the audience is really going to like. Who do we get? Pedro Pascal, even though he feels Reddit, right? Like he feels AstroTurfed. He doesn't feel like the actual fandom is there.
We were talking about this earlier. They get people like Zendaya and these other actors like him because they have a social media following that's substantial. And so Pedro has a substantial
report, right,
right. Yeah. Well, I've been talking about this for a couple of years now with this ad blocker apocalypse.
But now we have like the confirmation. But yeah,
and that's what it is. And so what they're doing is that they chose Pedro because he has a massive Latin American, Latina, whatever following. Massive, and he crosses all of the South American countries, particularly Chile, where he comes from.
Oh, so basically he's popular everywhere but here.
Yes, and that's why none of us can figure out why he keeps getting work. But like every South American country they send his work to just explodes with approval. Even when he was walking around, well, he wasn't there. It was a stunt double with a bucket on his head, champagne.
Oh, for Mando?
Yeah, when he was being Mando, just doing the voice clips off his phone on a beach somewhere. The thing is that they ate that up. But that's the thing, and that's why they kept making it and putting him in everything. That's why they brought the baby back, because they were like, wow, everybody likes Hispanic man with baby, so they just went back and did it again because it got huge ratings in the South American markets. The telenovela market is just like the anime market for Japan. The telenovela market in Mexico and the northern part of South America, say that 5 times fast, but that's huge entertainment market. These guys are massive celebrities down there. And so that's what happened with like Pedro, is he got massive because of that. It's like bringing a luchador up into American wrestling. He's going to be huge outside of American wrestling, which will propel him through American wrestling inexplicably to the American audience,
Well,
and that's where Pedro is.
I think the one positive of the casting of Abby is that at least we don't have to look at that very disturbing looking sex scene that we all got in the video game that gave everyone nightmares for several years to come. So
that is such a bad.
There's no guarantee that they're not going to do that, because they made Nick and Joel gay. So they've demonstrated they don't have a, oh, that's faux pas limit. By the way, it was pointed out by Troy a while ago, but I wanted to bring up, she's 5'2". So this little lady is going to obliterate Pedro Pascal with a 9'9".
5'2"? I didn't even 5'2".
She's smaller than
exactly, Nerdigans. That's what Jacob's saying. Well,
you remember how small the actress playing Kitty Pryde was?
Oh yeah, like she was.
She's smaller than that.
That's so
smaller than that.
She's like 3 inches above being like legally a midget. That is, and I'm supposed to be afraid of that. We literally have sports about tossing them. I can't be afraid.
Pedro Pascal is going to walk away.
A putt club, like like okay,
right.
man.
that without any strength training, by the way, because Neil Druckmann said he's not going to bulk her up. So there's this teeny tiny little 12-year-old girl that's going to go boink, and he's going to go ah.
It's gonna feel like anime, right, Nerdigans? It's gonna feel like an anime. Or go ahead.
This makes no sense. Like, why is she not Ellie? She should have been Ellie from the start because the person that plays Ellie is ugly as hell. I'm not sorry.
Okay, look. Well, hold on. All right, we got to go way back to the start on this. In the original plan, despite them not admitting it, Ellen Page was supposed to play Ellie. Well, wait. We got a button for that. We have a button for that. I forgot.
We do.
Way back when the original Last of Us game came out, Ellen Page was supposed to be, they won't admit it, but she was supposed to be Ellie's voice.
They don't have to admit it. Just look at Ellie, right? Like in that first game.
It's speech delivery, it's everything that character was in Juno.
Yeah.
And so Druckmann wanted that Ellen Page, and for whatever reason, she was doing something else and couldn't make it line up. So they just went ahead with, okay, it's not Ellen Page. Psych.
And this is before the whole Elliot saga, like way before. Right. So that wasn't
way before.
Maybe those demons were talking to her, like Jacob and I always bring up. That
I can't be in your video game name. Demons are telling me
his voice is inside his head.
Oh, that was such a bad quote. But yeah, this is when she was still Elliot, or whatever, Ellen.
Yeah, Ellen.
Juno girl. I'm going with Juno girl. That works.
Yeah. Well, and that's what happened is that
the artist formerly known as Ellen Page.
And so it just sort of spiraled from there as like they just found a woman that sounded like Ellie, like Ellen Page. And that confused people to no end because it looked and sounded like her. So people were like, oh, she did the mocap. That's cool. Then they find out that some actress they'd never heard of. And so
who the hell is this?
When she became the central character in Last of Us 2, fans expected some kind of like payoff to that this character was going to kind of lean out of the Ellen Pageisms. And all she did was hyper compound into the real Ellen Page by becoming I don't know, like some weird granola lesbian. I don't even know.
That's
what
the perfect term. Oh, she is a granola lesbian. That's yes, that is exactly what they turned her into. That is awesome.
She's like some farmer lesbian all of a sudden. She just goes from being a tomboy to being like, nope, I am a muff diver now. That's what I do.
Well, she goes from being a tomboy to being like not just a muff diver, but also like the super strong leader. Right? Like she's like in charge now. She's like, yeah, I can kick all ass. Screw Joel. He abandoned me. And I'm like, what? Like you didn't even know how to use a gun a year ago. And now you're
the guy that was the lead actor in The Sound of Freedom would have made the perfect Joel.
I don't even remember who that was. I can see his face. What was his name? Dang
He's the guy from Person of Interest.
Right too, I believe.
Oh, it's Jim Caviezel.
It's Jim Caviezel.
Yeah.
It's Jesus. Jesus would have been good as Joel. What do you know? But yeah, he would have been good as Joel. Yeah.
He should have been playing Nathan Drake in the freaking Uncharted movie too, frankly.
Jim Caviezel. Nerdigans?
No, Nathan Fillion. That's who it was.
I think like everybody always says that, and there was a time when I would agree, but that was
like a decade ago or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's gotten not too old per se, but I think he's gotten a little too bulk. Like he's not fat. Okay, so back in the Firefly days, because like back in the Firefly days, he was, when he was Malcolm, he was not like twiggy, but he was skinnier. He was on the skinnier side. He had more of like a Spider-Man body, right? And then he goes and does that Dr. Horrible sing-along vlog thing where he plays Captain Hammer and he buffs up for that, unlike The Last of Us. A small $2,000 production. They'll buff him up, but they won't do it for Last of Us. Okay. But then after that, Nerdigans, like he didn't lose all that. Like he never shrunk back down. He kind of just stayed like big and wide. So he just feels too chunky for me to see him as like Nathan jumping around, or even like Hal Jordan flying around in space.
Yeah.
I still love him, but yeah, I think like a decade ago. Remember the commercial they did for
Yeah.
PlayStation where he was in it as Nathan? They
Yeah.
should have gone like literally from that set and just walked next door and started filming the movie, and it would have
I
been
agree
perfect.
with you on that. That would have been so perfect.
Now, Jacob's got something here. Hopefully, we can show
So
this.
do you think that she would have been better off playing Abby if they were going to go off of the classic comic book accurate version?
Who is this?
Of Abby?
Comic book?
Not
Video
comic
game.
book, video game. Yeah, video
Yeah.
game adaptation. This is Natasha Ogley. So she's a popular
What an
fitness girl.
unfortunate name.
Yeah, exactly. She's Canadian, so there's a lot of unfortunate things about
Oh
her.
man, my heart goes out to you.
Canada's going through hell right
It
now.
would have
That's all
been
I'm gonna
great for
say.
She-Hulk. I'm not gonna
Now?
lie.
So
Anything would have been
Jacob,
better than She-Hulk, nerd, or like, sorry, Nerdigans, let me rephrase that. Any living person, like, go. I know, like, Jacob could have probably been like, pick this WWE chick or this AEW, anything better than like that awful CGI we got. I had to go look at that for the first time in months to write an article that I just put up, and I was just like, this is so bad. Like, I actually had forgotten how bad that CG was and how
Well, she would have been such a good She-Hulk.
like showing.
so
her
okay, Jacob, if you just narrow the window, maybe pull the tab out so it's a separate window, and then just
Narrow it?
kind of narrow it, it'll bring the picture bigger.
auto populate.
Yeah, she looks more like a She-Hulk than an Abby, at least to me.
So
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, Nerdigans, is like, I physically, yeah, she looks like Abby and she would do a way better job than Devers, but she's like too pretty. Like, she's still genuinely like a gorgeous woman, and Abby looks like a troll cave or a cave troll.
Man.
Yeah, a man essentially, or not essentially. It is.
You could have a trans woman playing Abby, and it would have worked better.
Dude, you know,
I mean,
yes,
legitimately,
but you
it
also would
wouldn't
have
have-
like,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yes, that would have been better, but we would be like,
Yeah.
not us. We'd be here with the popcorn, but we would see the biggest like culture poop
You know,
flinging in
Brock
a long
Lesnar-
I would just be
daughter.
sitting here like, I mean, yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, so it's like,
And it's such a Neil Druckmann thing too. Like, Neil Druckmann would totally do it, and it would actually prove a lot of people's points as well, because a lot of people did say that Abby looked like a trans person. So like, it would totally like solidify and probably vindicate a lot of people.
I mean, I'm still on sort of like what Cider was saying with Ellie and Ellen Page. Like, they didn't do it, but I see it like that had to have been a plan at some freaking point with Abby. Like, that was definitely something they considered.
So this is the thing, right? Is that I don't quite understand Neil Druckmann's thinking on this without applying a fetishistic angle to why Abby is the way that she is. Now, if you're thinking
Why
on
are
the
you
lines
gay?
that, well, if you're thinking on the lines, well, we ran that clip
You on.
earlier.
You on.
The we had Yasuke Fighter. I'll have to play that in a minute here.
I can't wait for that game.
So we have two things working in this scenario here. We have Ellie becoming a granola farmer lesbian, right? And so she's only interested in women. Then you have Abby being trans, or at least let's just say that she is. Let's just, for the sake of arguments, let's say that this character is a trans male to
Allegory
female.
or stand-in, whatever you want to.
Let's just go with the full. Everything's there. There's
Okay,
there's
there we
long
go.
hair, right? Pre-surgery, because the Fireflies don't do that. You got to have special blood in order to get your dick
No,
chopped.
no. The Fireflies do it, but Joel comes in and shoots everybody before they can finish the surgery.
And that's why Abby's mad, because he prevented her completion surgery. He stopped her completion surgery. Yeah, that's it.
They only got her chest, and then he came in and blew everybody
She
away.
was like a Pokemon who was about to evolve. Then somebody pressed the B button at the last minute.
Canonically, they were about to cut his dick off, Abby's dick off, right? But
Yeah, with, like,
Joel
scalpels right
brought
there.
Ellie in. Well, Joel brought Ellie in, so the Fireflies had to jump on her to get her blood, and he killed them all. So Abby wakes up after the drugs are off to like all
Like,
these
where is
dead
everybody?
surgeons.
Yeah, like are we
Right?
done here?
A hospital full of dead. You mean there's nobody alive that can cut my dick off? No, no
we
one's
not even
alive
done?
that can cut your dick off. I'm sorry.
It's on.
Right. And then but let's take that into circumstance. So was it Druckmann's idea to have Abby impregnate Ellie and do this whole the world is restarted by two women? Because this is the superior sex, if you will. This is a superior gender. You know, and so I half wonder if he was kind of gonna Adam and Eve it, you know.
I only push back against that because I think there is like I think you're on the right point about the fetishistic angle from Druckmann, but it's less like fetishism for specifically like trans people or whatever, but it's like the same sort of like neoliberal fetishism we see about anything that is counter to like society standard, right? And I bring that up because remember, there's a big plot point in the game where Ellie's like new girlfriend or whatever, like they find out she's pregnant because like she's bi or whatever, and then later in the game Abby like beats the crap out of her and is like ready to slit her throat, and Ellie's like, she's pregnant, like don't do that, and Abby's like, I don't care, and like gets ready to do it before something happens. I think Ellie might tackle her or whatever. So like, to me, I think he just went into this going like, oh, what is cool and progressive and woke and like, what do I do to essentially own the chuds is kind of what it is.
Jacob, is this like what is this like Netflix's Powerpuff Girls bubbles?
No, it's just Russian girl on a lot of gear, but still
This
has
is
like, the
regular
baby
Russian
doll
girl.
face.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's too pretty to be Abby.
Yeah. That needs like
Yeah,
the
she has
Chad
arms
filter.
to be Abby, though.
She needs to have, like,
The
a
Chad filter, yeah.
hard face.
Yeah, Abby
See,
needs
look.
to look rough.
That looks like the daughter of the Terminator that walked through the cage bars of Liquid Terminator.
Oh god, I thought you were talking about the Terminator who like lived and had a family or whatever in the new
Oh
one.
no, not
Yeah.
Jeff the Terminator.
Yeah, Jeff or whatever his name was.
I wish it was Jeff, but I think it was
I know,
something like John or something
it's
else.
something
you
else
know?
very generic, but now I
Yeah.
want it to be Jeff as well.
Hello, my name is Jeff.
But she needs to have like, she's got to have a really hard face, like wolf kind of hard face.
And you know, like to that end, like maybe it's just because I've tuned them all out and I don't go on Tumblr ever, but I feel like people should be crapping their pants about this, right? Like, oh, you're taking away representation for you know, buff girls, and I'm like not hearing any of it. And if that's the case, then did you guys just again? It's like what Cider and I were saying. None of it makes sense. None of the decision to like not do muscle.
Like where,
Huh?
where are the muscle mommies at? Like saying like, where's our muscle mommy representation? Why is she
Because
in?
a lot of them didn't like this game, right? Like most people aside. So yes, this game sold really well. Obviously, for whatever reason, that first game, a lot of people liked it. It was really popular. It blew up. It was a system seller, yada, yada, yada. I'm not a personal fan of it, but I get why people would like it. With 2, oh shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, right. Yeah. With 2, even though, yeah, it sold, that was sort of the pre-hype thing we always talk about, right? Like people were just like, yes, a new Last of Us. I'm gonna hop on that. I'm gonna get it. As soon as everybody played it, outside of the, you know, the Kotakus, the gamers, the IGN, most people know that game is bad. Most people go, that game is literally the Amelia Perez of video games. Because everybody in like the mainstream press goes, Last of Us Part 2, you're changing the game, Neil, you're changing the game. And the rest of us are like, are they doing a bit? Like are we being had right now? Like what's going on? Like Ashton Kutcher, you get out here, you sex criminal, you get out here. And like, yeah, that like it's just everybody likes it. Nobody liked it when it came out, so nobody wants to, you know, cosplay her or defend her because everybody went, that's stupid. I saw a lot of, you know, muscle mommies, as you define them, nerdigans, like they went, yeah, she's buff, but that's not like a buff woman's body. Like everybody was like, that's not women musculature, that's male musculature. So they what are they like? We do not, or like, what's the thing from Star Wars? No, what's the thing from Star? Like, you're on the council, but we do not grant you the rank of master or whatever.
Yeah.
We do not grant you the rank of man.
of Whoa Man.
Yeah, that you'll never be a woman, Anakin.
You're a whoa, man.
Whoa, buddy, that's for sure. But speaking of whoa, buddy, apparently Travis Scott did not know the WWE was fake. Apparently.
Oh boy.
Oh man,
he did this.
Yeah, all of that Majin Buu heel turn just happened.
So should we lead up with like kind of this is kind of a story to a bigger story here.
Recap everybody, yeah.
So last Sunday was the WWE pay-per-view. I think it was Elimination Chamber. They were in Canada. Main event was John Cena in an Elimination Chamber against a bunch of jabronis. Cena won. And then after the match, The Rock came out with Travis Scott, and they're doing this weird Illuminati angle where they came out with Cody Rhodes. And it was like, are you ready to sell your soul to be a part of the club or whatever this nonsense is? And then Cody basically told him to go F himself. So as a result of that, John Cena, who has not been a heel on WWE since 2003, turned heel for the first time in like 22 years, and everyone had an absolute meltdown about it.
All those Make-A-Wish kids just like infinity snapped out of existence.
Yep. All those Make-A-Wish kids were like 30 now, but
well,
negative.
Are they? Yeah, are they?
There's a few of them, I'm pretty sure.
I don't feel good, Mr. Cena.
There's like 2.
There's a few miracles, but outside of that, so there was doing a beatdown angle here on Cody Rhodes, and then Travis Scott, who is not a trained wrestler, and the last time I heard of him, like 15 people died at his concert, and people trying to brush that one off, right? Like that didn't happen. Decided that he was going to lay in a real one on Cody Rhodes right to the face, and then this happened.
I hit play. Oh, okay, yeah. Boom.
Mm-hmm. Right to the
Part
face.
that's censored because I don't want to show the gore. Cody's face isn't like exploded or anything, but like he's bleeding.
Yeah,
and it's not. YouTube is not gonna like that, so I'm just gonna orient that just a little bit so we don't. You can still see everything. Obviously,
we're playing the game.
So the word from Dave Meltzer, who is a complete and utter shill, he said that Cody Rhodes suffered a busted eardrum and a black eye as a result of that shot. Now, no one has actually seen Cody Rhodes since this happened because he hasn't appeared on TV yet, so we can neither confirm or deny whether this is legitimate or not, if it's all part of the show. But the fact that there's a couple of things going on here. The fact that you have a untrained goofball, borderline mass murderer, Travis Scott here in the ring, punching your WWE World Champion in the face for reals on the heels of this is the hottest angle WWE has done in at least 15 years, right? With Cena being a bad guy now.
Everybody is talking about, like, even non-wrestling people are talking about it.
So here you have the matchup for WrestleMania, which is Cody Rhodes and John Cena that's going to headline the show. And this dum-dum almost completely ruined that by injuring the champion. Now imagine if he had, I don't know, injured his neck, you gave him a concussion, something that was like really, really serious. Because keep in mind, WrestleMania is like 6 or 7 weeks away. So imagine if he had suffered for something a lot more serious that would have had him pull out of that match. You would have literally killed the angle right when it started. And that would be the last thing WWE needs right now. Because
and like Travis Scott doesn't have the rep to be like, you know, everybody would know you for that from here on out.
Common L. How about that?
I mean, there's a lot of them now, so I mean, it's kind of hard to narrow it down.
There is
a few, but
quite a bit. The rate of error is quite high now because of the variant.
I think the only one who managed to come out unscathed was Reggie Bush. He got out pretty early.
The problem, one of the particular peculiar things about this whole thing is that Cena. And you see that The Rock is the one standing there with his black pants. He walks into frame for a second there, and you see his hand come around.
Over here looking like black.
Neither one of them are looking at Travis. And you'd think like, okay, this is a circus act. We're the performers. We've pulled a man from the crowd. We want to make sure that he's not going to ruin the act. No, they are apparently like, yeah, man, you're just supposed to hit him in the head. And they're just like, he knows it's fake. Everybody knows.
Right,
That's fake all the time. And meanwhile, Travis Scott with like room temperature IQ is like, oh yeah, I've seen motherfuckers get wrecked by cars. Some motherfucker got ran over by the ambulance, then came back. He drove the ambulance back. That's for real. I'm gonna murder this motherfucker on TV. And that's what he did. he just was like, it's all real, bitch. Boom. And Cody Rhodes was like, at that moment, his contract, like the bottom line of his contract was like, if you breach this, that's what the minute Travis's wrist hit his temple, the breach of contract clause came to Cody Rhodes' head, and he was like, is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Now, if Travis Scott was actually a wrestler, there'll be a little thing called a receipt coming his way, definitely. So the next time he gets into the ring, I would assume Cody Rhodes is going to lay one in on him one way or another, as he should, rightfully so.
It's not going to happen.
Who
They're not
knows?
bringing him back for nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're not doing this ever again. Travis got the, thanks for coming. We're not talking again.
Especially because Travis knows that he would only be coming back to get his ass beat.
Right. That's it. Because there's no way they're bringing him back. Like, hey, remember that time you didn't know what was up? Do it again. You know?
Yeah.
And they're not gonna have that again. And of course, Cody's not gonna get in the ring with him again for that. It's not that he's gun shy. It's you've got a 50-50 shot of this guy being too drunk to remember.
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. So if you guys saw the whole scene with, Cena and Rock this weekend, I think I pull a little bit of it because, they didn't get copyright claim last night. So it is a little bit we can show. But essentially what happened was that Cena turns heel. And then the whole segment is weird because, like, it's Rock in the ring. And then Rock is talking to Cody Rhodes. And Cena's just kind of in the background. And Travis Scott, for some weird reason, is just there, and no one's actually like explaining why he's there. He's just like standing in the background. And
This
like,
is the
bro thinks
I'm
he's on
gay
the
for the
team.
This is the I'm gay for the devil guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought that was
no, that's Lil Nas X.
Oh, I thought that was CM Punk we were talking about.
Sorry, I thought that was the same guy that put blood in the Nikes. My bad.
No, that's Lil Nas.
Okay, I got my idiot rappers mixed up again. My bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of them
running around now. Yeah.
Who
would have guessed? Can I just say, who would have guessed? Post Malone, face tattoo guy, most family friendly of them. Wouldn't you? Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed?
It's weird how things.
Will Smith is still there. Will Smith is still there.
That's true. And then you've got everybody's. What'd you call him last night? Jacob, uncle. What kind of uncle is this?
Oh, he looks like a Guido uncle, like
Guido.
one of those 50-year-old like uncles
Cody.
who's like still in shape. No, The Rock.
Oh,
who's like still in shape and is still trying to like bang girls half his age.
his outfit was so weird. Like watching it out of context, I'm like, all right, what happened? Okay, what the heck is like Travis Scott just standing there? All right, what is The Rock? The Rock is wearing like a black version of what Barbie wore when she came to the real world in the Barbie movie.
Like I said, he looks like he's wearing one of those Elvis jumpsuits, but obviously he's like too big to wear the whole suit, so he just cut the sleeves off.
Get the eye party one.
Exactly, yes, because he's even got like the flared out legs on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. So this is what happened on what was it, Saturday when they did this whole event.
Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself.
I could say that now.
I know, yeah.
Because we're on Netflix now, so we can drop F-bombs.
Yeah. Exactly what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. And then
I'm a real man now.
I'm a big boy now, damn it. But so that was the whole leading up to it, and then this was the moment that everyone was like, oh my god, I can't, because like here's the thing, in the context of like wrestling fans, like people have wanted John Cena to turn heel quite literally since like 2007, 2008ish. But the problem is that here's the thing: wrestling fans are weirdos. Just generalize it very, very quick. They're weirdos, so they want to cheer for the bad guys, even though you're not supposed to cheer for the bad guys. But in their minds, the bad guys are cool, so they've wanted Cena to turn heel for several years as a result of this. But at the time, Cena was the top guy in WWE, and Vince McMahon is like, I'm not turning my top draw into a bad guy and lose out on merchandise sales and all the money that we're going to be making with this guy over the next 10 years. So he didn't do it, and for for several years he just absolutely refused to turn Cena heel. I think Cena said the closest that he came was when he first fought The Rock back in like 2012. There was talks about him turning heel then, but they didn't pull the trigger on it. So as a result, he just didn't. But now he's in his final year in the company. This is supposed to be his last year as an in-ring competitor in WWE. Vince McMahon's out of the picture. So it's like, okay, John Cena heel turn. Let's just go for it. And then this is what happened.
There is your main event for WrestleMania.
Called.
John Cena.
God, he looks like such
That's
a
a
Filipino
meme.
grandma when he does that. When
Yep.
he does the neck cut.
Yeah. And it's weird too because it's like it's funny. Somebody had posted a story earlier today saying that the most searched wrestlers since like the beginning of the year are literally John Cena and The Rock. Now, you gotta keep this in context here. Neither one of these guys are full-time wrestlers, right? Like The Rock wrestled last year's WrestleMania. He hadn't wrestled in a match in like 10-ish years, 11 years between there. He's just kind of periodically making appearances. John Cena, this is I
doesn't
believe
he just like show up and like announce like there's a match coming and then he like leaves
for the most part he just shows up and like whenever. And then John Cena in his quote unquote retirement tour, this is his second match that he's had since he's come back. And even now I think he's in Africa filming a movie, so he's not really committed full time to WWE just yet. So it's like you got these guys like sitting here, and it's like John Cena is like 47 years old, you know, which is weird. Here's the other thing we mentioned last night too. It's like he's a multi-millionaire a couple of times over. Like he's made millions of dollars just from his WWE career alone, let alone all the Hollywood stuff, right?
And
it's
the
like
merchandising.
merchandising this, but you would think he has the money to afford hair plugs, but what he does here is that he got like the plugs for like the front part of his hair, but then when you turn around, he has like a massive bald spot that's like so distracting.
Really?
Yes, he really does. So it's like you see it from this angle, it's like, oh, okay, you know, his hair still looks good, but then when he's in the ring and you see the massive bald spot in the back of his head, you go, oh God, you're not gonna do anything with that, like whatsoever. Like I don't know how the procedures work, so I don't know. Maybe that's like a spot you can't touch or something like that. But Cena just decided he's not gonna do it. And then of course
he's going for the San Diego Padres, the Friar haircut. That's what it'll naturally grow into.
Mm-hmm. And then The Rock at this point in his life is like he's on like so much gear and juice and TRT and HGH or whatever. Like he now has like Barry Bonds' head like going now. Like his head's just grown like 15 times bigger than it ever was at any point of his life. And then it's like, no, he doesn't even look like, 1999 Rock anymore. It's like
Look
there's
at
no
those
iteration.
glasses. Those are such old people glasses. Like they're not cool.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that he's still trying to be big giant hulking Rock, 300 pounds of muscle, but now it's like he's 52 years old, so it's like the skin is starting to show wear now. So now he just looks like a really old juiced up guy, and it just looks weird. So it's like the whole thing is just, and then like I said, well, this is all going on here for no apparent reason. Travis Scott is in the background of this whole thing. Literally the entire segment, he's just like smoking a blunt in the back. Like no one's even acknowledging that he's there. Like he's not cutting a promo. He's not talking to the crowd. He's just there. And everyone was like, why is he here?
He's just like wandered up there, and they're just like, we can't like interrupt the broadcast. Just leave him.
Mm. So Mega here says that people are saying this is the biggest deal in WWE since Stone Cold shaking Vince's hand. I wouldn't go that far. Like some people are going completely wild about this whole thing. It was like exactly right. But no, people were saying that, oh, this is bigger than when Hulk Hogan turned on Macho Man and joined the NWO.
Ooh,
it's like, well,
I don't know about that.
First of all, when Hogan turned heel, that literally created a whole new boom period with a completely different company. That was the moment that kicked off the entire Monday Night Wars with WCW and WWF and built WCW to a point where they were actually beating WWF for a good period of time there. So let's not go completely crazy here. I would say this is probably WWE's biggest angle since maybe CM Punk in 2011, where it actually got like some buzz outside of like like wrestling fans and stuff like that, right? So but here's the question now. This is the question I have from a wrestling fan's perspective: is that Cena is not slated to be back on television for another couple of weeks because he's filming a movie in Africa, what we were told. So he won't be back until they do the European tour, which is at the end of this month, which means that Cena might not be back in the United States of America until either the week before or WrestleMania itself. And this is his big comeback tour. So it's like, you started off a hot angle, but where are you going to go from here, right? And the question is, like, now he has some kind of alliance with The Rock where he sold his soul to The Rock. That's kind of what's being assumed here. But again, why would he need to sell his soul? He's already a multi-millionaire Hollywood celebrity, just like Rock is. That there's in the context.
But he's
there's
also, like people like Cena more now than they do The Rock too. Like I would kind of argue that I would almost say Cena's probably a bigger draw, maybe not like a bigger name to like normies, but like a bigger draw in general. Like if I see a movie with The Rock, I go, oh God. But if I see Cena, I go, might be cool.
I will say it's weird because Rock certainly hasn't done himself any favors over the last few years. Like a lot of his projects have kind of tanked. Now he rebounded well with Moana that came out earlier this year, but that's more of like a Disney family movie, so that probably have more to do with it than just, oh, everyone loves The Rock all of a sudden again, right? So he's trying to like right the ship as far as that goes. Cena has been in a number of things, but he hasn't really like clicked in a role that's put him front and center, anything with the exception of like the Pacemaker series, and that was kind of, I mean, it's popular, but it's not like mainstream big. Yeah, it's something that's like kind of like in the middle. So it's like he hasn't really found that one thing that he can gravitate towards to yet either. So, but they're both definitely in the realms of pro wrestling. Two of the most popular guys in the company's history. And like I said, they're the top two search wrestlers in the company, and they're not even really full-time wrestlers. Like that's the other thing too. It's like, you know,
Well,
they're not there
let
week
me
after week.
explain what's happened here, okay? And I know that you know it, but we've kind of missed it, shot over it a bit. You keep saying that, right? Well, the biggest reason is that these guys aren't allowed to retire because they are getting those Google results.
They're like
We talked
CIA
about
agents.
this. Well, we talked about this a little earlier with the movies. How Zendaya keeps getting this work. It's because they have social media followings, they get Google search results, and this is the only way that the studios can get over that ad blocker apocalypse that they're up against now. That they, like us, like here at Bounding, we're facing the same limitations on advertising that Disney is facing. Okay, we're no, really, they don't have any better access than we do. They got to go find somebody on Instagram just like us. They just got deeper pockets to bring somebody like Zendaya through, who's just arguably just the next. Who's the one that's fading away to nothing that was just in that witch movie? Ariana Grande.
Oh, Ariana Grande.
She's just the next Ariana Grande. That's all.
When you realize she's
Zendaya.
the one who's fading away, I'm like, okay, you really gonna need to narrow it down there.
Yeah, I didn't.
Dude,
Fading away
did you
physically.
see, just a quick little sidebar, did you see the Academy Award events over the weekend? There's a number
Why?
of women who look like they're actively dying. Like
Yeah.
Ariana Grande, she does not look well. And look, we talked about Michelle Trachtenberg a while ago, and it's like, you know, she's right there of, you know, if we find out news in the next few months that she drops it, it's not going to be a surprise. It might be a shock, but it won't be a surprise. And like,
well, did you see? There's a really weird clip of her where she's like on the red carpet and she's talking about like she goes to this weird facility every day and they like blast her with the mind. It's a really bizarre clip, and I'll try and find it. But she's clearly like bought into
talking
some
about
weird,
like weirdo, like mind
Hollywood
control
thing.
nonsense.
Yeah, some weird. And even like
No, she
the
admitted
interviewer
this.
is like what?
It's like, are we
What in
allowed
the
to say
hell
this?
is happening? Elon goes and does some bookkeeping in the government. Now Ariana Grande is talking about MK Ultra. Michelle Trachtenberg's dropping dead. You got Gene Hackman rotting for 2 weeks in his own house while his wife's pilled out, his
Right?
dog's dead in the closet. What the hell has gone on? Who knew bookkeeping would murder so many people? No wonder everybody thinks that words are violence. Math clearly is.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know. What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Cider, you broke everything.
Oh, there it is. Cool. You grabbed it way faster than I could.
Oh, are you in the studio too, Spencer?
No. I meant like pull it up on the back end for you to put up. When we do
Oh,
our
okay.
streams,
So
I go on my
Jacob
account
switched
so that
windows.
Yeah,
for
you have
whatever
full.
reason.
When we do 0-1, you have full control.
Yeah. Okay. I couldn't figure out why the layout shifted. So now you know, guys, our terrible secret. So you go.
we've been exposed once again. But
just a
yo,
picture.
this
bounding
is
files.
a little short clip from Ariana Grande, who may or may not be dying right now, talking about some memory erasure treatment that she was taking. Now, people are like, "Oh, she's joking about this, guys." It's like, look, we've seen enough clips by now of people who are seemingly joking about stuff, and it turns out they're like 1,000% serious. So I wouldn't, just smirk it as, "Oh, it's just a joke, guys. They're just a joke." But here's the clip. Everyone was like, "Wait, what?"
You know what? They did the Brighter Days memory erasure treatment to me, so I'm having trouble remembering the details. They're foggy because at the Brighter Days clinic they do the memory erasure, you know?
If you could remember, struggle. Tell me. Give me a date.
Hi, could you relieve
You know what?
relive your
I'll have
like
to
trauma right
go
here,
back to the clinic
please?
and see if they can restore my memory.
Now keep
What,
in mind,
like
this would have been
Dollhouse?
What the hell is this
Remember
clinic
Doll?
she's talking about? Like,
Here's the thing,
is there a
though.
life force
I
or
love
something away with it too? Because she,
But this
Ariana
is
Grande,
exactly
like,
the point.
when I saw her on the carpet, and I was trying to compare it to some old footage of her. I'm like,
Mhm.
damn, she looks like she is on death's door.
That's a thing though, right? Because it was supposed to be, oh no, she's just kidding, guys. But it's like it may have been funnier if she doesn't look like she's actively dying. It's like she's starting to look like Chadwick Boseman a few months before he passed. Like that's how bad she's getting. And the thing is, like no one outside of like the internet is really like being like, yo, like what's going on with her? She she looks ill.
Can everybody? We just kind of gleaned over the fact that she went to a place that erased her brain, like erased her memory, to the point where she's
Or she
like
claims,
having some
yeah.
kind of disassociative episode where she's not aware that she's like a celebrity on the red carpet talking to some random ass reporter with a microphone in her face. She's like, "Oh, BT Dubs, the trauma was so deep, I had to go and have my brain erased. I don't remember things." Like
Brain
just
erasure.
like I
You'll get
can't.
caught up in the
Well,
brain erasure.
just stop and think for a minute. Just stop. Well, I'm not trying to challenge you like you're bad people or anything, but this stood out to me immediately. Someone has let this woman go out into public like that. She has handlers. She has people. So there's something terribly, direly wrong with her business of being a celebrity. To have her in this state out in the public, where she's not sending, "Oh, I've caught the bug flu going around right now. Some bird flew through my window. Now I'm puking all the time." Something like that. Can't make it. Sorry. Love you. Bye-bye. None of that. They literally have her out here doing the Joe Biden Trump is your thing, dog face pony soldier routine. And it's like, now you have to wonder, what's she going to say next? Is she experiencing some kind of dementia because of this? Was she fresh from a treatment? Was she just sunny dayed before she was dropped off on the red carpet?
Cider, I get what you're saying. On the same token, there could be a laundry list of things that was wrong with this woman that we don't know about, that they're just not telling us about too.
She was the one that had the stadium collapse, right?
Too. Like, what is it? Like, what did she endure?
Stadium
that
bombing.
caused her to have to resort to that. Like,
I would say
that
the
is
stadium bombing is what caused the trauma. Because, like, believe it or not, let me. I'm not trying to be explicitly sexist on this. I'm only saying from my perspective as a Mainer. When we do blasting up here, the men don't tend to keep that jumpy feeling, but the female construction workers, like my adopted sister I grew up with, sort of, she used to be a flagger. So her job was to stand there and stop traffic while quite literally they're doing work. And part of that work was blasting. And what she said was, in her experience, the other female workers would have to be like, lunch break would be like, I got to listen to music. I got to take a break. I got to get away from that, like, sudden explosive, just tension building in the body. Whereas the guys are like, haha, go boom. So it's like a different, and granted, people died during that stadium explosion too. But what I want to explain is that, like, that shell shock of just having the body experience that violent explosion, not like having it enacted on you like a grenade going off in your belly, but like being there and feeling the power of an explosion can traumatize you beyond what, like, the death of it, the blood of it, or anything. Just your mortality being challenged. And I'll remind you, this is the same lady that was licking donuts just a few months before this happened. I want to say that was just a few months. It was like the
that is
same year she was
true.
licking donuts
That's
that
true. The
happened.
terrorist attack that happened. That's probably she's
Yeah.
probably still dealing with the trauma from
Well, not
that.
only that, but if you guys
I didn't even know
remember,
that was the thing that happened. I had to look it up. Weird.
yeah, you didn't know about that. That was a big thing.
I
Like,
didn't.
Which,
I
the
didn't know
donut
about
licking or the
no,
stadium?
the
donut
terrorist
licking.
attack.
I did. No,
Yeah,
I knew the
it
terrorist
was
attack.
in.
I didn't know anything about the
We're
donut
all
licking.
confused.
No, yeah, no, the was it the terrorist
She can
attack
afford
happened like
all of
10
her
years
donuts.
ago.
She doesn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody had like let off like a nail bomb or something. Like it was in the UK and it happened out there. But not only that, you also have to remember that I think not only did her former boyfriend Mac Miller die, but I think it was like another person she was dating also died within that same time frame too, which was very very odd how both of those happened simultaneously. Like here's the thing with Hollywood too, and we did kind of touch up on this last night when we were talking about the Trachtenberg situation, and you mentioned the question. It's like people let her walk out like this. Like, is there no one looking out for her? It's like, no, there's not. Like in Hollywood,
Even her
so
brother,
many
too.
of these young girls get chewed up and spit out by this industry all the time. We've seen this happen for
Michelle,
decades.
last week.
I mean, ever since the days of Marilyn Monroe, we've seen these women get chewed up by this industry, spit out, and left a twisted wreck at best, if they're lucky. That's if they don't die before the age of 30.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say even
well-
farther back to what was it? Oh, what was her name?
Judy Garland?
Yes, thank you, Judy Garland.
Yeah.
Well,
Judy
there
Garland
was
was a
that-
lot worse for her.
I think there. I'm not trying to be defamatory, but I think there was one of the stories. Like it's not Joan Rivers that said it, but it was some other person during the Me Too thing came out and said that Audrey Hepburn was nearly beaten to death by Kirk Douglas when she was first introduced into Hollywood. That he raped her and held her down and beat the hell out of her to teach her her place because she was some kind of smart mouth toward him at some event, and he got her alone and taught her her place. Now I can't verify that, and I don't know who said it, but it was during the Me Too thing that it came out. And Hollywood is an evil place. I think the Black Dahlia murders really underscored that with all of the satanic imagery associated with that, and not just because it was like ooh Satan's spooky, but because of how torturous those murders were clearly carried out in the fashion of just how, I guess, methodic these things were done. And so Hollywood has not, and I think the root cause of that whole thing was star idolization, right?
We have no idea.
Oh, they never got solved. Okay.
Everything is completely out around her. But the star idolization is something that lures a lot of the young folk into this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, how many years have we been prancing this story? It's like, oh, small town girl and in the middle of nowhere, and oh, she's in a dead end town. She's never gonna find anything. Oh, she goes to Hollywood because she wants to be a star, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna pack up all my stuff and go on a bus and go to LA. And then the next thing you know, she ends up, waitressing at some schmucky hotel for a couple of years if she's lucky. And then next thing you know, oh, I'm getting an audition. And then now I get to talk to producers. And then it just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. And the next thing you know,
all I have to do is take my clothes off for Harvey Weinstein.
Mm-hmm. And then when the reality comes into what you have done to yourself over the last few years to obtain this level of fame that you have attained, then you have to start taking drugs and alcohol just to cope with that reality. So then you become a completely drugged up mess of a human being because you can't mentally cope with the person that you've become and the things that you've done behind closed doors. Anyone seen Justin Bieber lately?
Yeah, he had a hard time in a parking lot a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that video, there's that video of like, it's from like 2005 or whatever, where like he's standing somewhere and Diddy's like, oh, hey, how come we don't hang out anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the most uncomfortable video I think I have ever watched. Like it is so, I feel so bad for Justin.
Well, there was obviously the other one where he was at some kind of award show and like all these like 40-year-old women are like basically molesting him on stage, like live, and like everyone's just laughing up. It's like, oh, it's so funny, right?
But like now that Cider mentions it with and even Jacob mentions the stuff with Ariana Grande, it totally makes sense on what's happening with her. Because if she's been through all of that trauma, I don't blame her on wanting to try and erase all that pain that she went through. It's probably been haunting her like for years.
But you're not wrong, but the problem here, like this is where I look at it. You can't erase your memories, guy. Like that just doesn't. Maybe the CIA can do it in their like
I know,
secret
but I'm talking about
900 level.
who's trying to like suppress
I know.
it and all
Hold
that.
on. I know what you're saying, and that's why I'm saying like I get that and I agree with that. In this particular thing, what worries me is like that doesn't exist. Like there is no mind erase thing. So with her current state, and especially with like the very clear eating disorder stuff, is she getting like taken for a ride by just some new age like hippie lady or whatever? And maybe not like a lady, or maybe it's a Scientology shoot, who knows? But like that to me all sounds like she just drank a Kool-Aid, like drank the Kool-Aid of whatever this brighter days or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
or as our good buddy Dale likes to say, literally it's fucking demons. Maybe it's just that.
Well, another question is where's her brother? Where's Frankie in all this? Because I know he's a social media influencer, but where is he in all this?
Like, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I didn't even know he had a brother.
He's gay, but I understand what you're saying. In
Shocker.
theory, Nerdigans, like I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, you cannot rely on family members in Hollywood to save you out of murky situations. We've just seen it too many times that family members will be the first ones to sell you. How many of these? Let's be honest here. These Disney kids, these Nickelodeon kids, all these kids who come up in the system at a very, very young age. How many of these kids were basically handed off by their parents to the industry, all for the sake of, well, go out there and be a star and bring back some cash for the family, who cares what happens behind closed doors there? I mean, the only we're talking about was the documentary. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys saw that documentary a year ago. It was like Quiet on Set, where what was it, the Nickelodeon shows?
Yeah,
all Nickelodeon shows where it's like all these kids are just going to Brian Peck's house and he's having a party where only kids are allowed to go and the parents are not allowed to be there. It's like, did no one think that this is a red flag in any way, shape, or form whatsoever? And then we're shocked that kids got molested at these. Oh, really? Shocking.
It's like you sent them into the into the candy store. Are you afraid? Are you like surprised they got candy? What else were they going to do in there?
What did you think was going to happen? Seriously.
They're going to really recognize your talent from across the pool, and they're going to give you the next Marvel role because you're just so good.
Well, that's the thing, is that the Google search prevents that from happening. So much like you're seeing like men dropping out of the dating field because the return on investment, as our good friends in the metaverse like to call it, the maniverse like to call it, the return on investment isn't there, right? This is the acting thing that we're running into now, is that unless you approach Hollywood as like a YouTuber with like a million followers, they don't care what you look like, what your talent is, anything at all. You have to be able to do the advertising for them now. It doesn't matter what your skill is. Look at Zendaya. There's no earthly reason why she should be anywhere near a Shrek movie other than watching it. Okay? There's no. Apparently, he had a boy. Shrek had a boy, and now it's a girl or something. I haven't.
He had triplets.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So apparently, the two died.
Or they like grew up fast. I don't know, but yeah.
They just weren't in the trailer to spook you out to make sure.
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
Shrek killed his,
everybody.
killed his other
Everybody
two
already
kids.
looks terrible enough. You don't need to throw a fourth and fifth ogre.
Oh,
in
it's
there.
so bad. It's so bad. But
I also want to throw this out here too. Maybe something we've talked about, or maybe with you guys or another group of guys. Ariana Grande obviously gets all the attention because she's the most famous one that came from that show, Victorious. That was out about 10, 11 years ago. No one also talks about the fact that her best friend, Liz Gillies, got married to the music producer of the show. And they both started working on that show verifiably when she was 16 and he was 36. And then 3 years after the show got canceled, when she was 19, then they came out open in their relationship, trying to make it seem like, no, we didn't start dating until after the show was over. And I was like, yeah, okay, there, buddy, sure.
That's like
we totally believe that.
I just learned that about like Aaron Taylor Johnson, his wife. Like he was 17, and she was like a producer on a film he was working on, and she met him when she was like 49 or something, and they're like together. And I'm like.
And she was like close to 40, I think.
Yeah, it was like definitely a grooming situation. And I just see so many people like going like, you don't know. And I'm like, I don't need to know like what was said. Like they're a kid, they're an adult. End of discussion.
There's so many people out there who are just delusional. It's like sometimes it's so blatant and in your face. You just kind of like look around like, No one else sees this. Like, it's just
Well, it's funny you should bring that up because one of the things that came out with Quiet on Set and the other conversation, especially with Jeanette McCurdy's conversations about what went on with Dan, Jerry Trainer, the guy that played Spencer, not our Spencer, but Spencer on iCarly, older brother,
Pretty
the
much the same
inventor
character.
Yeah, right. It's kind of strange, but anyway, robot out of bottles. Anyway, apparently that actor was running around protecting Jeanette and Selena from Dan. Like most of the time, his job on set was to just
That
be a
sucks so
cock
much.
block for Dan against those girls. And he risked his job quite a few times by getting between Dan and those girls. So
And that's like what Jacob is saying. Like, no, there are so many. The people you would be like, why don't their co-stars look out? Why don't their family? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But at the end of the day, like the power and everything, like it gets.
it happens
warped.
outside
It
of
goes
Hollywood in
warped.
your high school. with
Yeah.
The principal,
Oh, yeah.
the math
Exactly.
teacher. So of course it's going to happen with a multi-billion-dollar production, involving multi-millionaire
that's-
obese pedophiles.
But that's the thing, though. Like, that's how twisted and evil the system really is. Because even a guy like that, who probably has more of a moral center than probably anyone else that's in that town, he still has to corrupt himself to some degree because he knows what's going on behind closed doors, specifically with those type of producers. But he can't come out and say it or just like walk away, be like, I'm not going to be a part of this because of that. Because he knows that if he does that, well, my career is going to be done.
He's going to get douche-cooed is what he's going to get. He's going to get douche-cooed.
He's going to get completely blacklisted. And then people, because of that, they were like, okay, I know what's really going on behind closed doors, but I don't want to get blacklisted. So to some degree, I'll just keep my mouth shut and hope that I'm going to get caught up in the fire. And it's like, and that's like the best case scenario for a lot of these people is that they know, but they won't say anything, which, I mean, from the outside perspective, doesn't make it any better because in some way they're still enabling it. They're just doing it for the fear of, well, if I say anything, then my career is toast and I want to lose my career. So whatever immoral stuff's going on behind closed doors, I'll just pretend like it's not happening and whistle the other direction. Well, it's like, well, you're really the only people who will come out and say like, hey, no, there's actually some really nasty stuff going on here. We should talk about it a lot more.
You're the only ones who can do it. It's not all, like, what are we supposed to do?
This is why they're called open secrets, because everyone in that town knows exactly what's going on, but they just don't want to say it publicly.
Oh, dude. First of all, one of my favorite websites of all time is Open Secrets or like Crazy Nights, whatever that big one is nowadays, like the rumor
Blind
board.
items.
That's what it is. The blind item page. Like it's so funny how many people are like, this celebrity is doing, cocaine off of that little Pikachu is a cocaine bag, and everybody is like, oh yeah, it's them. It's like, oh yeah, duh.
So we do have a super chat. This one is from Blank Man from an iPhone.
Blank Man!
$1.99. By the way, your iPhone's taking a penny from you when you send a super chat, just so you know. He asks, how much to replicate my genes with the woman? Well, Ariana Grande may have done some work about preserving herself, but I think Elon's working on that. I think that's his plan, is to like put all of our DNA.
In all honesty, she might die during childbirth. I don't think that's a venture that you.
I'm not so sure he's worried about the birthing part. He says replicate my genes, so I think there's a test tube involved there, perhaps, like Elon intended, right? With the human printing spaceship. Remember that idea where we were just gonna put like jerk off?
Yeah, the generational space. I remember that.
Space. Yeah, the generation ship. That was hilarious. Where it's like, yeah, man, you just gonna jerk off into space. That's all.
Who's signing up for that job? Who's signing up to be space seaman shepherd
provider? Yeah, who's chief? Yeah,
Oh, no,
how do you become?
We can get it all provided like here on Earth, but if we go into space, somebody's got to make sure all the machines are working.
Yeah, like who's the guy who repairs the jizzenizer?
Imagine that really bad Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence movie. What was it, like Passenger? But instead of life,
I was looking so forward to that movie. I was so raw. I am a sucker for shitty romance movies. Like if it has a dumbass plot, I am down for it because obviously whatever happens between these two people is going to be psychotic. All right. And I just love it. So Passengers was a perfect setup. two assholes are stranded in space. They like it's that movie that Disney made about the mentally handicapped spaceman that you know what I'm talking about. The comedian man, Rocket Man was the name of the movie. It was Rocket Man.
Yep.
And he and the monkey got unfrozen accidentally. So it was like him and the monkey that were trapped in like the NASA shuttle for 6 months.
God, I missed the 90s. That was how you made a movie. You said,
right,
what if we do this? Add a monkey.
Right, add a monkey. And so like he painted the Sistine Chapel out of all their food. Like he used all the NASA paint on NASA food to paint like the Sistine Chapel. And he's Jesus and the monkey is Judas. And it's so
so absurd.
So like this is the kind of like situation that you're in as like the passenger thing, the passenger situation is
passengers.
Right, the passenger movie is that you have these two characters and they're unfrozen, so some shenanigans should happen. No, Jennifer Lawrence almost drowns in a bubble, and Chris Pratt's a fucking weirdo that kind of quasi wanted to rape a woman he didn't know, and with a robot.
Weird.
With a robot, he wanted to have. It's really weird, really weird.
Too. It's so weird.
And the denouement is that, they ended up getting together anyway because the machines were fucked and they couldn't hop back into the Ghost Night machines. So they ended up having to be together anyway. So Chris Pratt being a creepy space rapist worked out in the end.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, worked out for him.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't see that coming. It's like the reverse
my part
Lifetime
is that it wasn't even like a good enough lie to be, because when we find out what happened in that film was that the ship was about to like literally destroy itself, like if they hadn't woke up anyway, so it just so happened to work out. But if he had told her that, hey, look, we were all going to die anyway, and there was literally no one else I could wake up, I need help, she could have at least accepted it. It was like, hey, like we were going to die regardless, so now we're just stuck here. But yeah, the fact that it was like, no, I was just lonely and I thought you were cute, so I woke you up and summoned you to a premature death.
That is literally the plot of the movie, guys. Like,
yeah,
he wakes up
space
prematurely and goes, oh, look, she's cute. I'm going to wake her up.
He like Tindered through the other people to decide who to condemn to share his fate with him,
It wasn't even like
so
Tinder,
romantic.
dude. It was like a rotating sushi bar. Like he just was able to or not even a sushi, like it's like the seafood tanks at grocery stores, right? Like you're walking by the lobster, like not that one, not that. That's the one I want.
So we do have a follow-up. Blank Man from 199 says, no, I wish to replicate with the woman on stream. And I'm not sure that's
Nerdigans. I think that's for Nerdigans. You have an admirer, I believe.
Okay.
All your DMs open.
Let's just say that Zeno is the guy you got to go through on that. He's not much of a conversationalist.
Yeah,
He's
instead of like the fat
guy.
best friend, you got to get through the cat.
Yeah, don't tell him it's a cat. That's a surprise.
The guard kitty is on duty.
Damn it! Now it's ruined. It was gonna be a big joke. We had to go. He was thinking Zeno was like some protective older brother you got. Nah, it's a cat. Damn it! You could have gotten like a whole bunch of games for your PS5, thinking that like, oh yeah, I'll press Zeno with this.
Yeah, that's right. Dang it! It's on me, Nerdigans. I owe you a library of free donated games.
Well, you owe me a PS5 first because I don't have one.
That's
I'll get back to you in like 20 years.
I'm fine with my PS4. I probably should get it.
Just send her a PS1.
I need a PS. I need a backwards compatible PS3. That's what I need.
Well, speaking of games,
Yasuke Fighter. So who is gay? You are gay.
So yeah, Yasuke Fighter. If you're not aware, there are two Yasukes in town now. There is the gay Yasuke from Ubisoft, in which we were told you can optionally romance anyone that you like, right? And then there is Yasuke West, who is just a belligerent a black man in samurai armor from iParty, trudging through a Takeshi's Castle obstacle course with a P226 pistol. and there's Tequila Clan that want to end you. And this was my experience condensed. We got it. Come on! Historically accurate parkour humping. Come on, Yasuke. You barrel roll into it. Come on. Yeah! Aw. Do you have anything to teach me? Power! Yeah! Whoa! It turned into the Barbie movie. So,
this looks like it was made off of a budget of like $10, and 7 of it was spent on like a Wendy's chicken sandwich.
It looks like something for Windows. It looks like something for Windows 95.
Their profit window is going to be, or their margins are going to be way higher than Shadows, though. We all know that.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Nerdigans. What were you saying?
It looks like something that would be. I would say that it looks like something that I would have played on like Windows 95 or like Windows 2000, maybe.
That definitely came in like a PlayStation Volume 3 demo disc.
Yes!
So Yasuke Simulator had a demo, and I played it, and it's intended to be an 7-minute demo, and I managed to turn it into a half an hour because I suck. So, well, more than that. It was like an hour and a half, but whatever. It's getting longer the more I talk about it. But anyway, the game is just a regular old Unity asset game that loosely parodies what happened with Assassin's Creed Shadows. It simply tells the story that Oba Nobunaga presumably kidnapped the guy off of Jesuit ships, because it's never explained how Yasuke becomes a servant to Nobunaga in the game. He's just, you're going to be my samurai, and you got to go kill these guys that I don't like. Go on. Go. And sure enough, you're sent on your way. But then you're given a gun. And that gun definitely makes the task of killing those guys that your boss doesn't like very, very easier. But not exactly so easy that you can just win the game, because they crowd overwhelm you. So like 12 of these Tequila Clan guys come up on you, try to wipe you out, and then they do. Because there's like one hit from 12 of them.
Did the guy really name it Tequila Clan, or is that
no?
It's calling it?
It came from Dash Blue. He and his wife were playing the game, and they misheard Tequila Clan because the AI mispronounced it. So they heard Tequila Clan, and I was like, nope, that's mine now. And
100%.
If the game all right. So what I want to do is I want to stream playing this game when it fully comes out. All right, for the channel, and just have a fun time with it. So if you guys want that merch, I will put together a test piece for the Tequila Clan merch. And you'll have Tequila Clan shirts and Tequila Clan hats you can wear. And you don't tell anybody what Tequila Clan is.
We should steal the we should do like a very generic like vector of the Tequila Gundam, like they always do on all those shirts or whatever. Like they're not using him. They just broke up Doman and Rain. They're not going to do any G Gundam stuff for a while. So let's take it. We're the only ones who talk about it anyway.
Yeah, right. We'll have some t-shirt artist like rough it out with the Tequila Gundam. More sombrero, but yeah, Tequila Clan, and we'll put that together. But yeah, the game is a lot of fun because it's stupid. It doesn't. You're riding a bicycle at one point, and
no, stop. You should just that's the tagline. That's the tagline. Put that in the commercial. The game is really fun because it's stupid. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. It is, because Yasuke Simulator doesn't ask you to give a fuck. That's my favorite part about it. It doesn't ask you. It just says. Headline. Yeah, well, it's a Rolling Stone review, Rolling Stone review. It's stupid and it doesn't ask you to give a fuck, It's a Rolling Stone review. But yeah,
review you're on number 3. It's like they didn't even try.
You're on a bicycle at one point and you're doing like Mach 5 through some PNG bamboo walls, and you just shoot into space. You just take off into space when you hit that wall, because Yasuke is a wall rider. That's what he's a legendary anything of in Japan. He's a legendary BMX wall rider. Because you can't go anywhere near a wall in that bike without it immediately going whoop, Spider-Man style right along it. It was crazy. And then at one point, the bike just dropped out from underneath me. It took off into the sunset. I was riding along, and then it just went, I stepped off the bike, and the bike just went It's took off without.
I was. This is game of the year. Like this sounds way more fun to me than any triple.
And this was a 7-minute demo, Spencer. This wasn't the whole game. I didn't even get to the part with the historically accurate Porsche.
Dude, so obviously, like, I check your videos when you upload them, and sometimes I can watch them, sometimes I get busy. But like for that, like this one, I was cracking up and I was glued to like watching you, and I was like this is video games. Shadows is not video games.
It's a movie.
Money laundering.
It's a movie. It wants to be a movie, and that's the biggest problem with it, in my opinion, is that Shadows will have a less of a cultural impact than this game will. This game won't outsell it. It won't have more players, but people will remember Yasuke Simulator longer than they will remember Assassin's Creed Shadows, simply because Yasuke Simulator made you laugh. Yasuke Simulator gave you an experience you enjoyed, whereas Assassin's Creed Shadows may have people enjoying it, but they're enjoying it on a level where they're like absorbing a lot of information. They're not really enacting their desires. They're being entertained by the game as opposed to entertaining.
That's the best way to put it. They are being entertained rather than engaging with like in that entertainment, helping that entertainment.
And it's one of my favorite parts of this game, of this little demo, is at the very end of it, you have to go up against an 8-foot tall general character. You know, this 8-foot tall character, and you just headshot him repetitively and he dies. That's all you have to do with him, and that's my favorite part in all this.
Historically accurate.
Right, historically accurate. Bang Bang Samurai Hero, which is the song that I made for this, and it's pretty fun because it's you know, he's just got a gun running around. That's why he's Yasuke West, because if you say Kanye West, right, Yasuke West, it kind of has that phonetic follow through. So
I thought you called him Yasuke West because like he's got a gun. And in the West we have all guns. Yeah, no, that's way better.
I started down the pathway of like, how do I identify this character as separate from Ubisoft's character? I could just call it Gay Yasuke. That's fine, the Ubisoft one, right? But I can't call this proper Yasuke. This is not proper Yasuke.
Right. Like we're not just gonna replace one lie with a complete other lie.
When he got the gun, though, and you're doing target practice, all I did was hold the gun in one space and let the targets travel into the reticle's path and then pull the trigger. And I was thinking, this is how Kanye West determines that he's an expert marksman. And I was like, there it is. Yasuke West, the expert marksman of Nobunaga's court.
Don't mess with me. I've taken out the Nobunagas.
But yep, we are thoroughly enjoying Yasuke Simulator, as you can see. And really looking forward to the full game release. We over in Dash Blue's live stream, the dev showed up and revealed that the background in the menu was AI generated, and he had absolutely no idea what the kanji said there. And so he asked them.
Like, I'm cool with that. Like,
yeah,
you know, and you're intentionally doing it. And if it came back offensive, you would probably be like, "Oh yeah, my bad. I'll take that."
That's why he was asking.
Yeah,
he said, hey, I don't know anybody who reads kanji, and you guys just you clearly do. And he says, could you tell me what it says there? And he says, they say, oh, it's just gibberish. It's just random. So they explain that like one of them is like fish and the other one is desert, and just random, they're not anything that means anything. It's just like the AI took like a glance of what it had on record of what lanterns with kanji on it looked like. And it was like, good enough. And it just did what it could. But this was a really a lot of fun to play, and I look forward to the full release. We will be streaming it over here. Another one that might find its way over here on the channel simply because we found out the big boss is a grand champion of one Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah,
we do have
that was a pretty crazy revelation. Our as you guys all know, we obviously are part of, we have an ownership company over us. The guy, they don't really say what we can do or don't. Me and Cider, we basically run the entire thing. They just kind of check in and say, are you guys cool? But yeah,
give me my money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. But yeah, our I guess, yeah, our boss was like talking to us about video games this morning. And he's like, yeah, I like a world champ or whatever in Tony Hawk. And then, yeah, as Cider brought up, it was particularly well timed because we did just get the announcement that we are getting Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remastered. Now, I know they've remastered 1 and 2. I never played the remaster. I just didn't have the time. But 3 and 4, like these were the ones I focused on the most, like growing up. So I'm beyond stoked for these to come back.
Hell yeah.
Did you see the collector's edition came with like a full-size deck? It looks beautiful.
I didn't even see that they put up anything for pre-order. I just thought they announced it.
They put up pre-orders for like a digital collector's edition, and then a full-on collector's edition. And the full-on collector's edition has like a life-size deck, and it looks stunning.
As it should. It's a video game thing. It better have a deck. Or a video game, a skateboarding thing.
Hoping for that. I really hope Nintendo does this. Remember on the Wii with Tony Hawk Move, and you could use you had the board that you could use for the Wii. I really hope for that.
Yeah.
I really hope for the Switch version for that collector's edition that they'll make it compatible with the Switch version. That for like Move. Hell, maybe if they'll do it for all of them, because now I think about it, I think all of them have like motion control capabilities now, right?
3 and 4 don't. Like, oh, you mean like the newer games? I haven't played a new Tony Hawk game.
I'm talking about for the consoles now, because at the time it was only the Wii that really had the motion controls. Now.
Oh, you mean in general? Yeah, everything has motion controls now. Yeah.
So they could theoretically make the deck that comes with the collector's edition. They could make it like motion control. Compatibility.
But guys, Doom Guy on a skateboard doing sick grinds.
Yeah, he was on the PC version from what someone told me.
No, he was in the old versions, and now he's got his new updated Doom 2016 look, and he looks great.
But here's the thing that a lot of people miss about Doom Guy being in this. They're gonna Fortnite it, okay? You're gonna get a skin every new week. Thanos on a skateboard, Iron Man on a skateboard, Abraham Lincoln on a skateboard. Probably not Trump though.
That would be cool. You know, like I think that would be cool, but also B, like, that's kind of
kind of the point of Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah,
is to see cool ass motherfuckers doing skateboard tricks.
And if they at the very least like give them unique tricks, like instead of just being like, here's your generic skin, I'll be in. Because like I remember like Spider-Man could like web his board while you're flying around. Django could get a boost with his jetpack. Eddie the Skeleton from Iron Maiden would like shred his guitar. Those were like the funnest parts of playing a guest character.
So this is the dream, okay? You got Optimus Prime and you got Megatron on a giant-sized skate park, and they're shredding on flatbed trailers. Flatbed trailers.
Like flatbed trailer.
Go behind 18-wheelers, okay? So they're shredding on like flatbed trailers. And this is what it is. So you got a whole DLC level. This is the dream. It's a whole DLC level of Optimus and Megatron facing off against each other in this gigantic Transformers-sized themed skate park.
Well,
that would be
even
crazy.
Like, forget Tony Hawk. Delete this stream right now. Like, we should take that idea and like pitch a skater that turns like cities, like you said, like the size, like make yourself Ultraman or whatever, right? Like you walk into New York and you activate the button and you grow, and now you can like grind on the Golden Gate Bridge. You can
it's a fusion of Streets of Rage and Rampage.
Yes, please. I would
Streets of Rampage.
Streets of Rampage. Streets of Ramp. There you go.
There it is.
I mean, they kind of already did that. If you played those Streets of Rage, the remake, which is that fanware game, they added like lightsabers and all kinds of stuff like that game. So yeah, you can legitimately play Streets of Rage with a lightsaber in that game. Cut people in half.
Game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We do want to bring up that there is some really cool news regarding
I posted the link for the collector's edition, by the way, so you can see the deck. And there's the pre-order links as well.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that's a good looking deck. I mean, if you're a Birdhouse fan, I was never a Birdhouser. Okay, I was I don't even remember. Oh, what was it's unsurprising, but what the hell was the company? Well, there was the one with the teardrops, like the red drop, the blue drop, or whatever. That was their mascot. Those were my guys. And then there was the company that did like the anime girls, and those were the other like brand I liked.
Yep. And I do want to point out while we're on the topic of retro things that are too cool for school, right? We do have some good news for people who are down with the Sonic Unleashed fandom. After 17 years, fan-made Sonic Unleashed recompiled port brings Sega's Werehog experiment Sonic Unleashed to PC with new graphics and performance features. So if you liked Sonic having those stretchy arms and the random jazz bands attacking you, you've now got it on your PC to have it run with mods. I look forward to all the crazy mods.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. And like, so yeah, if you guys haven't heard, this is basically a fan project made by like 15 people where they took the source code for Sonic Unleashed, fixed it up, made it so it could run on PC. It works exceptionally well. They gave it 4K support, 60 FPS, all the sort of upgrades you would expect of a modern thing. Now, the only caution I would say is if you go and play this, if you go and download it, there's been a lot like in recent years of people going like Sonic Unleashed, that was a pretty good game. I remember that when I was in high school, or I remember that when I was a kid. I enjoyed it. What's up with that? Where is it? That's a lot of nostalgia because this game is like, it's cool that we've got it again, that we can all access it because it's been trapped on PS3, Xbox 360 for 17 years.
And Wii as
But
well.
yeah, well, the Wii and the PS2 versions are. Do you remember this, Nerdigans? They used to do this a lot, where like they'd release a game for 360 or something, and then they'd say, "Here's the same game for Wii and Game Boy, but it's like a completely different sort of like experience." That's what they did for that one. So yeah, it was there, but I don't always bring it up because it's bad. Like I played the Wii one. It is very, very hyper janky. But yeah, if you pick this one back up, it's fun. It's got its charm, but don't let anybody's like recent year nostalgia override the fact that it's still kind of a jank game. I still like it. I'm still playing it, but yeah, keep your expectations tempered.
It's still a Sonic game, all right, guys.
It's still a Sonic game. And one thing I really liked, and I kind of admired them about this, is they said, we are not like, here's the game. We're not going to add any features. We're not going to fix any bugs. Here it is in its original state, which is like, okay, a little annoying because the bugs are there, but I kind of like that because like that's what it was.
Well, part of the charm of the Sonic games is the fact that they are awful. That they're incredibly frustrating to play and make zero sense. So, and Sonic always ends up with a human girlfriend, which makes you incredibly uncomfortable.
Always. That's my man.
Yeah.
Where is
And speaking of uncomfortable, though, Amouranth shot a man.
I don't even know what's going on with this, man. You two probably do. I have zero idea what this entire stupid situation is about.
So Jacob apparently really enjoyed that delivery. Yeah, he got a real gas out of that one.
Can you imagine getting shot by a Twitch thought?
Amaranth of all of them, right? The queen, the most well-known.
Did you shoot him during one of her like hot tub like
in the hot tub?
Did her husband give her permission to shoot that man?
Dude, if you get shot by Amouranth, like you're going to be somebody's bitch in jail. Like there's just no way around.
What do we got here, Spence?
Yeah, just before we go to the Amouranth thing,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you brought up the fact that Sonic always gets a human girlfriend. This was an edit I made the other week because I was talking to our friend Josh about that same fact. And this is the ending screen of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where the main character Rex is revealed to have sort of haremed it up, and all three of the women in front of in the front of the picture, they're his wives. He's got 3 baby mamas, 3 kids. He's repopulating the earth. And yeah, I just threw all the Sonic like human ladies because it is a trend. It is a trend that he gets the human ladies.
It's nice of you to put Big in there.
You know what? That one was for me.
But
somebody had to like that character.
Right, exactly. And you guys know me, my taste is terrible, so I'm taking up that
There you
mission.
go. There you go.
Anyway, to the thought war.
She's that big, Leslie.
The thought heard round the world.
That's push-ups. There's no way that she's that big. That poor gal would snap in half. She'd be tripping over those things. But so this footage is janky for whatever reason, and so you can barely make it out. But here is wow, that did not help. So here they're running, and there she is. She's running. The dog is having a bad time. There's a guy who is there. There's another two fellas that are running up, and they entered the home behind her. And the dog is just like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." And
You had
that.
one
They
job,
run out,
dog.
and apparently one of them got shot. I don't know which one because
so
none of them are
bizarre.
behaving like they were shot. I don't know about you, but if I were to be shot, I would probably be holding on to that place that was shot because it would hurt.
Unless
But
does she know that she hit anybody? Like did she say like there's blood in my driveway? I know she said she
Did they
shot
confirm
at
the guy?
them. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
because if they were running away, adrenaline could be pumping to a point where you don't realize you get shot until things calm down, and it's like,
he
oh, why is everything
screams,
getting
"I
hit?"
got shot! I got shot!" So one of them is screaming as he's running away. I don't want to play the audio.
Oh,
because she's
so
a
they know
ridiculous
it. Okay,
weirdo.
then I have no then good on her for
Yeah.
getting a shot off.
But
I did
close
I
range.
yeah, I know. I did read that like apparently they were trying to get like crypto things from her, or that's what she's
This
claiming.
was not a sex thing, as bizarre as that sounds. Not that I want her to have that kind of harm
Well,
practiced upon her.
yeah.
It's
But
just
to me,
bizarre that like, no, we're here for your crypto. Keep your shirt on, honey.
Well, like
It's-
it's not even the fact that it's not even the fact that they weren't there for like a sex thing. It's more just like who goes, I'm gonna go rob somebody and take their crypto. Like that's
Give
not
me your passwords. Write them
yeah,
down
like
in this
yeah,
notebook.
yeah. Like that's not.
Give me your client key.
yeah. Give me your wallet like word password or whatever it is.
FJ642785.
Give it. Yeah.
She was tweeting while being robbed. No. This is from the Ring Cam. This is like this Nest Cam. This is like the thing that's supposed to monitor her front door because, being who she is, people who get the wrong idea about her and show up unprovoked. And
I gotta be
these two
honest
gentlemen
with you.
did.
There is a added part of like hilarity to this whole situation where apparently she was getting robbed and then like live tweeting herself being robbed at the same time, but just like call the cops. Like what do you want to say?
That's like the worst. That's the worst version of Taken when she's like, "Dad, I need help." Like if she was like, "Dad, at Liam, Dad, need help."
But he gets that faster in the phone call.
Yeah.
This is the thing is that like in her mind, she's thinking the police won't save me. If I tell someone on Twitter, they'll Batman from the sky from their jet to come save me like a superhero.
Never underestimate the power of simping, my friend.
That's true. It's true. She should have just put in a post right now that said, "I'm home alone, but not for long."
Discord mod, save me!
Right, Discord mods, I assemble.
No, like yeah. What if the robbers didn't even know that was her, and maybe they're just like hopped up on like crack or something? They break in, and she's like, "I'm a Twitch streamer. Like I'm the most popular female Twitch streamer," and they're like, "Oh, we got to get out of here. We are about to get lit up by like a small militia."
You don't look like Tyson that.
There's gonna be a bunch of 400-pound guys with samurai swords coming to the door at any moment.
But it's like
if you don't leave right now, men from the internet are going to be here.
But it's like Saito said, Jacob, with the Yasuke Simulator. Like, yeah, maybe they're not the best opponents, but strength in numbers, baby.
And then there's just like some guy knocking on the door. It's like, hey, before I help you, can you make me mod on Twitch?
Did you see my super chat?
Now that I helped you, lady.
I'm Freaky Kitty 71. Did you remember me from it?
I'm Big Yasuke 69 420.
Always make sure you pick a good internet handle, guys, because at some point somebody will say it out loud, and
so
it's hard to explain. Mr. Chow 6969
Fart Blaster 29. Like, all right.
I made the unfortunate mistake of creating a very early Gmail account. This is back when the beta of Gmail was coming out.
You had to get invites.
Right. And so one of my friends, he got an invite because he had a Zoom. And so everybody was trying to get in on the Zune action because Apple had everything cornered. So
Yeah.
like, here, get a Gmail to go with your Zune. Now you can check your emails on your Zune, provided you have a Wi-Fi connection. And the what happened so I got that's one of the first Gmail accounts, right? Not like the first 100, like the first million, where you didn't need to have numbers in your password. Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how old that is. You didn't have to have numbers in your password. Yeah. You could just have 6 letters, 6 regular old letters.
Yeah, and you
as your
probably didn't
password.
even have to choose like lowercase and uppercase. You could
Exactly.
just choose the word.
Yep. It was very soon. So
Back in the day when people's password was Apple, all lowercase.
I'm not gonna give you that email, but
I feel like that's still Tim Cook's. Like if we went to like the Apple servers, it might still just be like Apple password 1.
So what ended up happening is I ended up keeping that email because it was so old. I had it since I was 16. So now that I'm 35, my email is still very MySpacey, and I have to explain that when I'm talking to doctors and they want to send me medical reports. I have to say I was 14 years old when I came up with this email. I was 16 years old when I came up with this email. Please forgive me. And they're like, "Oh no, I get it. I've got one." And
dude, like that is me too, to the point where like I eventually just went and I made one of those, like another Gmail account that's like last name, first initials or whatever. Cause I was like, I can't keep explaining this really stupid joke to literally everybody I come across, because they go, "What's your email address?" And you say it and they go, "Huh?" And then you have to do the like letter. And they're like, like that worst feeling is like they never come to understand it. Right? Like maybe you think like, oh, they didn't hear me.
The worst part is when they stop writing and they just stare at you.
And that's exactly it. Or they'll keep writing, but it's slow and like, okay, or I think you might be pranking me, but I'm gonna keep working.
So I thought I was big brain coming up with cider hype, right? Because I was like, oh yeah, everybody knows what apple cider is. No. As a matter of fact, you get away from basically New England and England proper. Fuck, nobody knows what the hell apple juice that's lumpy is, okay? Nobody's got any clue what the hell this cinnamon-infused shit is. And so...
People in California know what it is, but that's because in Central California, we have that kind of stuff, especially.
I don't know, because like every time I'm talking to people outside of New England, they're like, what the fuck is cider? What the hell? Cider? I've never heard that. They call it cedar.
Really?
They're like cedar. Like cedar hype is here. They get the hype right of all things, but they call me cedar, and it's like, why?
That's so bizarre.
And I ask him, like, do you guys know what apple cider is? Like, no, is that? I don't know. I've never heard of that.
How do people not know what apple cider is? Maybe
Well,
again,
you can.
maybe it's a California.
Let's just say. Let's just say you didn't have a European-centered upbringing, maybe. And so that didn't encounter your existence because you weren't in the presence of people who passed that down to you.
And also, like in Europe, cider is more of like a hard alcohol beverage. Yeah. So I've run into that before. Like I've had like friends visiting from out of the country, and it's like, oh yeah, we can go to this bar. They've got great beer and cider, and they're like, why are we getting beer and apple juice? Is that an American thing? And I'm like, no, or yeah, like don't worry, guys.
Right. And so and in Japan, it just means juice.
Cider. If you come to California, just go to Apple Hill. You'll get really good cider.
I'm sure.
You'll get really good apple cider here.
Coast to coast. You know me. Cider coast to coast. But that's what it is that like you can choose your name online, right? For this circumstance right here. You choose your name online. So I thought I was big brain about it. So when I go to explain it to people around here, they get it. They're like, oh yeah, I like apple cider. I completely understand.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking to like some medical transcriber from New Mexico, they're just like, okay, could you spell it? Like, what? It's 4 letters. How? What? Take a swing. I guarantee you.
Like your closest hit is probably going to be right on point.
Then I have people who look dead on you. You see how my name is spread out here? Like it's CIDER because people kept doing CY, cider with a Y. It's like what? Then I got cyber because they were like, no, clearly he misspelled his own screen name.
Right. And like, no, now you guys are like 2 telephone calls down from where we started this.
Yeah, and down in Brazil, apparently, cider is a bubbling wine. So around the world, you never know what it is. and you can end up shot by Amouranth if you have a shitty screen name. That's what you're gonna end up getting outed with. Okay, that's how you bring it full circle. That's how you get these guys. Is you out them as their their subscriber level and their shitty screen name.
There's a good chance these were like clout chasers. They might have been live streaming it. It might be over on what is that, Kick?
I think we're dealing with guys that saw Ocean's 11 and came up with a scheme to extort
Ocean's
crypto access. Yeah, extort crypto access from someone who is bragging about having a ton of it, or a ton of access to a ton. And
hold on, that's a good question too. I don't know this. I don't think you guys would know this. Maybe somebody in the chat. Does she regularly talk like I'm a crypto millionaire or like I have a bunch of crypto? Is that
that's what she that's what she moved into, right? Was crypto trading?
I genuinely don't know.
She didn't go she stopped porn to my knowledge and did crypto trading. But that's why they went after her.
I know nothing about her.
Stupid. I'm not sorry for God, why?
I just find
crypto?
it
I don't understand crypto. Like when my late boyfriend was alive, because he was into IT. This was 6 years ago. This is when crypto was starting. He told something he told me, and it stays with me to this day. He said crypto is a scam. It was always a scam because you don't have any solid assets. Anything that you don't have a physical asset to is a scam, and it is true to this day. He's still right. So
you didn't buy into Melania?
No, why would I do that? I don't have any money anyway. So when I hear when you're telling me that they are going after her crypto, I'm like, that is the dumbest thing to get shot over. If you're telling me they're going after some property or
she's got a bunch of tech stuff in there. She's got high-end streaming gear and cameras and all that stuff.
Streaming gear and sell it. Her Sims would totally buy it. But
so
still.
Yeah,
this is the thing.
Steal the seat of her chair and be like Amaranth's chair, $700, and that's gonna be the low bid.
Today, crypto
it doesn't make sense. Why crypto? That is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard.
So now today it's not. You have guys like Shibtoshi. Maybe you've heard of him. Maybe you haven't. He is one of the more famous crypto bros. He wears these kooky masks that kind of look like low poly video game character faces that are made out of solid gold. Well, not solid, but they're paneled gold. And so it does translate because people believe it has value. This is how money works. It's the dumbest thing, but this is how humans work. Because people believe it has value, it has value. This is a Beanie Baby craze. This is how it happened. Now, what I want to tell you is El Salvador
laundered money for several hundred years.
Yeah,
well, here's the crazy thing. El Salvador's entire economy operates on Bitcoin. You do not, that is their currency. That is their national currency. If you buy soda in El Salvador, you are paying in Bitcoin for it. You buy pupusa in El Salvador. That's not vagina, by the way. That's like a cheese bread dish.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Get your minds out of the gutters.
You say something with that many puzz in it, But
and out of Brazil, I just assume every third word is something.
Well, it's El Salvador, so it's like Brazil Junior.
Same thing. Yeah. I'm gonna piss off Latin America and Africa in this.
All of them. The most racist man in the world. But so Spencer, little did you know, in El Salvador, not Brazil, but this is also the place that went after the MS-13 gangs, right? And so crypto got big around people learning about El Salvador. And so people saw it as a stable currency for government, for countries. Now El Salvador is very small, right? So they can do this, they can do that. So we're not so small, and us having one of those unicorn currencies isn't going to help us when the power goes out and you can't get your old bitty coins out and help Amouranth keep her crypto robbers out, And so at the end of the day, these guys came after this because of the craze around crypto. You just had the president the same day. I don't think they reacted to him, but I think it was the same day. Make an announcement.
No, it wasn't a reaction to that, but it was the same day.
he had President Trump come out and say we're creating a crypto reserve. Now, fuck all if I know what that means. I don't know how you. I assume you just take a wallet and you put that neighbor butt coin in it.
Is about to be way more rich than he was before, and they're gonna rip us all off. It's not a good move, but yeah,
I just have no idea how you do it. It's crazy, and because you take crypto out of circulation, well, it's just blockchain numbers. What? I don't understand. Like, are we Pokemon collecting blockchain numbers now? Is that how we establish value?
That's to what like Nerdigan's saying. That is essentially the physical, or what did you say, Nerdigan's, like the actual good you are getting off of crypto is
assets.
Yeah, the asset you're getting off of it is that crypto, or like that string of numbers that is verified. And so kind of what you were saying, like if tomorrow everybody goes, Bitcoin isn't anything, like I don't like Bitcoin. All right, there now you got those strings.
I was told that the US government seized over like something over $50 billion in cryptocurrencies through like drug acquisition. That Sam Bankman-Fried guy, that guy.
I was like, Banksy? What did Banksy do?
No, not yet. Nothing yet, but give it time. One of these paintings, you know. But
it's all money laundering, like Jacob said.
So the crypto thing is a big deal right now because the dollar's weak. Every other currency on earth is rapidly devaluating. Even the euro is on its way down. Every last currency is on its way down. The Japanese yen, you might as well be wiping your ass with it right now.
That is why they are having all of those problems, because it's super hyper cheap to go over there right now.
Right. And so right now, you've got these guys that are looking at crypto, and you see one Bitcoin, a singular Bitcoin, okay, is worth several hundreds of thousands of dollars at the moment. Very, very valuable thing to have. And so not understanding, Nerdigans, that you can't go to the ATM and just rip out $1 million worth of Bitcoin because you got it. It's right here. It says Amouranth, but you're Amouranth today. And, you know, not understanding that doesn't work like that. There's several layers of how to extract this. You can't just, it's not like El Salvador. We could just whip your ATM card in and pull out your Bitcoins. It's actually a very complicated process to move this from one wallet to another. So they break in and they're just like, give us your passwords. But like, to contextualize this whole event, to bring it back to our age group, imagine Pamela Anderson is at home watching a horror movie. 3 guys break into her house and they're like, "Give us your Beanie Babies." It's just, you don't want to like molest them. No, give us your Beanie Babies. We want all your Beanie Babies right now.
Pamela Anderson also fires off and like dings one of them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she reaches between the boobs and pulls out an AK-47. You know,
coming next on the next episode of World's Dumbest Criminals.
Right? These guys broke into Pamela Anderson's house.
If she's pulling it from her chest, it's not even going to be pistols. Like she can get like AK-47s, and it's
like a bazooka.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Naked Gun comedy where it's just pulling out a bazooka out of the cleavage.
Exactly the kind of humor I was thinking.
You know? But yeah, this is what it is though, is that like they saw an opportunity to make money really, really fast, and that did not go the way they expected it to.
And remember, Nerdigans, like a lot of times desperate criminals will do stupid things like that. For example, they'll be like, oh, there might be like a news article, right, that says the M2 chip in the new iPhone is super valuable and everybody will pay a bunch of money for it. Well, these guys just hear that. They don't know how to get it out safely or what it does. So they just steal the iPhone. And then they'll go, okay, I have the phone. Here, you want it, right, Cider? You want that chip? Here's the phone. Like they just brute force it. So they're not even, they probably, like, Cider is completely right. And I bet you they were just their plan was like, okay, once we get back, we'll log in and drain it. I don't know. Again, not thinking clearly.
Once they log in, they'll figure out where they are, and then they will bust them. Like these people.
Well, the whole point of the blockchain is to establish an unbreakable ledger. So there is quite literally, because of the nature of the blockchain, a paper trail that says these assholes stole Amouranth cryptocurrency.
Steal iPhones. It's like the people that you see steal iPhones during like the riots and stuff. Yeah, like it's like, dude, you know, Apple is going to track them.
They're not
bricks.
They're not. Yeah, here's the. I know what you're saying, but I just wanted to point this out as a dumbass, and I will take my licks. Who has had, you know, several phones stolen off of his, dumb person, nothing really helps. Like the robbers will turn it off like immediately, and then you're gone.
They still, but yeah, like it's not like a Google phone, like an Android, where like you could still break into it and still use it. Apple, that's where I give credit where credit is due in regards to Apple, even though Apple is ass. It's like Apple will lock it and Apple will lock the iPhones and will like make it completely useless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah.
What are we looking at here, Jacob?
I figure since we're here at the end of the show, I leave you guys out here on a good note. So we watched this last week, and this is an absolutely hilarious bit. I want to give a little shout out to the Deadlock podcast, who has done a few of these videos here. The Deadlock podcast reviews wrestling stuff. This is just absolutely hilarious bit. I'll just play a couple minutes of it. Just the best part of this. It's talking about when Kane set Jim Ross on fire back in 2003. For you old school fans out there, but the breakdown of this is absolutely hysterical.
I'm glad that Stone Cold Steve Austin has been trained in hostage negotiations. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the glass breaks, he grabs him like, Kane, listen to me, you son of a bitch. Now hold on.
Let me insult him.
When Steve Austin informed there's gasoline in the room.
No one's laughing at you. We're trying to help you. Kane says, the only way you can know I do what I do is by feeling my pain. And then Kane punches JR. And Austin says, Kane.
Listen to me, Kane, you sick son of a bitch.
Listen, you fucking asshole.
Kane, fuck you. Fuck you, Kane. What?
Kane,
fuck you, Kane. What?
Die, Kane. Die.
What? Kane, you got your stupid little gas tank. What? I said you got gasoline. What? You're gonna set Jim on fire. What? You sanctimonious son of a bitch.
I'm gonna drop you on that stack of dimes you call pubes.
You little dick. You shitty little dick, Kane. You stupid little hairline. You make me sick. You're gonna set Jim Ross on fire.
Why you put that mask back on, son, you ugly freak.
Of course, Steve Austin.
Kane is whooping JR's ass.
He's trying to stop Kane from killing Jim Ross. Fuck you, Kane.
I'm gonna fucking throw up.
Oh fuck! So if you could believe, that didn't work.
And then Travis almost murdered a man.
Yes, and that's how we got to John Cena.
That's how we got to John Cena's bald spot.
But of course, I do want to mention real quick that yesterday was the 25th anniversary of one of the greatest consoles of all time, the PS2.
Yep.
So
we're starting to hit that point where like there's a lot of like 20th anniversary, 15th, and I'm just like, stop, please stop. Like
30th anniversary.
No.
There's a lot of
guys. Did you know that it's been 31 years since the first season of All That went on air on Nickelodeon?
Oh my god, and I feel really old. Oh my god.
1990 was 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's not even the fact that like 1995 is now 30 years ago. 1990 is. I mean, we're way up there now.
Yeah. I'm going way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mass Effect, I think it was like Mass Effect or Mass Effect 3 came out like 13 years ago today. Someone was saying, I was just like, oh my
the downfall of that studio 13 years ago
God,
today.
the end of Saved by the Bell was over 30 years ago. That's when the show ended.
So, Sakura Mita had some questions here about the Power Ranger merch. I don't know why that's not showing up. I love this. Why is it not showing up? There we go. Okay. So I had some questions about the Power Ranger merch. We're at the end of the show, and it's quite a bit of conversation. So I'm going to try to do a stream tomorrow about it. I'll get up with the other guys if they want to join in on it. If they don't, that's
I'd
okay.
be around, yeah.
This is pretty big. This is a really big conversation to have because Playmates apparently is taking the Power Rangers brand more seriously than Hasbro could have ever imagined. They said, Hasbro said, do what you can. And Playmates was like, bet. and they decided to go balls deep with this. So this is too much to discuss right now. This is a whole stream on its own of information.
Oh yeah, it definitely can be.
And that's what we'll do. We'll either
I kind of
tomorrow
would
or
like to
Friday.
compare to what Hasbro is doing, because something that World Class Bullshitters was talking about is how Hasbro is trying to like give sell like what should be like $20 or $25 Marvel Legends figures for like premium Japan prices. It is just insane.
Playmates doesn't do Marvel Legends. What are
No,
you
I'm talking about Hasbro.
Oh yeah, they do Marvel Legends. That's right.
Yeah, because they're doing it for like a Spider-Man figure that's coming out. For like, they're trying to sell it for like $50, and they're just doing like the minimum, like just adding some effects and like some additional articulation, and like you compare it to like one of the Spider-Man figures that has come out of Japan, where it's giving you the full shebang, and it's just stunning. Yeah, that's the one, the Hasbro Ultimate Spider-Man figure. It's just it's freaking insane what Hasbro is trying to pull. It is a scam.
I mean, don't buy it. That's all I can recommend.
But yeah, but I'm just bringing it up because it's like you got to wonder what Hasbro is going to do. They're just going to upcharge you and give you like crap quality figures because they think they could pull like.
Well, if you're talking about Power Rangers, that's the thing. Hasbro's not doing it right now. Like they are not doing it.
What I'm saying is because Hasbro's no longer doing Power Rangers and they're focusing on Marvel Legends, they're what is the word I'm looking for? They're trying to pull a stunt basically with like they're thinking that they could put out high quality figures for like the Japanese prices, and they're still
you mean low quality figures for Japanese
low quality
prices.
for the high Japanese prices. Yeah. It's just
it's
insane.
For now we'll be able to discuss it here tomorrow or the next day, whichever works out, about what's going on with Playmates and their very ambitious idea of what they plan to do with the Power Rangers toys. Like I said, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I can pontificate about this all night long, and that's not what we're gonna do.
You and I could keep everybody here for hours, and we don't want to do that.
Jacob's already fading out of reality. So
he heard Power Rangers and he went, "That's not wrestling."
Yeah, that's not Digimon. But so
guys, the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers debuted 32 years ago,
and it's coming back.
It feels like it was 90 years ago. Ugh. Every time somebody mentions Mighty Morphin, I age 10 years.
I feel like the that shot of Robin Williams from what was it, Jumanji, where when he's like in the real world finally, and he's like, "What year is it?" And he's got like a long beard. That's how I feel all the time.
Look, I know we're trying to end the show. We keep this thing going, but I just want to point out.
Hold on, real quick.
Nerdigans, let him go. Hold on, Nerdigans. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, Nerdigans. Damn it. No. So do you guys see the Power Rangers movie that came out? That came out. They released it on Tubi a while back ago. The very first one. I will say this. Holy crap, are those special effects not holding up well after 32
They're
years?
so like when they get to the end with the metallic
the Zord.
Yeah.
Because look, somebody had to have had the conversation. It's like, hey, look, in the TV show is basically a bunch of guys wearing suits and they're fighting each other in front of cardboard boxes. Like, it's not going to look very good. Is there any kind of way we can mix this up just a little bit? And it's like, in all honesty, they were probably better off putting those guys in those suits versus what they did.
Well, no, because there was one guy there who's like, they were only asking like, are there better suits we can make? How can we do this? And then there was somebody like, oh, there's a new tech. Check this out, CGI, and and then we got it. Like that scene of
how much CGI do you want? Yes,
yeah, 90% of the end of that movie.
So just close your eyes for a minute. You don't have to. Just close your mind's eye and picture if George Lucas got to do the re-edited re-release of the Power Rangers movie with updated CGI like he did with Star Wars. So now you have like these way overdone that don't fit the scene anymore.
Well, I was gonna say robots. Like that, and then like you'd have random like what are the alien rangers again, like the Aquarians or whatever, like you would have you would have like a random Aquatarian singing a song in the background of the opening scene where the Power Rangers are like boarding and skydiving onto the ground. Like it would just be random CGI things thrown in.
Yeah, the band singing Action Boy and Action Girl as they're doing the skydive routine will be the Aquatarian.
Yes, there you go.
Band for inexplicably, and they'll be intercut, and there'll be like some parody of the Aquabats. Remember the Aquabats? I'm sorry,
do.
I used to work at a preschool for
love
autistic
it.
children, so I got on all the like alpha zoomer kid stuff got forced into my brain working there. So I just
Alpha Zoomer, that's our generation. The Aquabats are from the 90s. They were actually a band before they became a kids thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I only know the Aquabats as like a children's show.
The Yo Gabba Gabba host. Or
Yeah.
their own show. Yeah.
They became their own independent show. That's the way I know them through. And that came after Cars. So for me, that was for the Zoomer kids. That was for the Alpha kids,
Yeah.
not the millennials that got
No,
like,
totally. But yeah, like Aquabats was a band back in like the 1990s, or still are a band. They were a big ska band, and their whole thing was sort of like goofy songs, but then on stage they would do sort of like live
can't be
toku
serious
shows,
and
right?
play ska.
And they weren't. So they would be like playing funny songs, and then they'd have like a giant guy in a dinosaur costume come out, and all the band members have like superpowers, and it was just sort of like, yeah, a giant toku show with some ska music.
Mm-hmm. So, where do we find you in the ska music end, Miss Nerdigan?
So you can find me on Nerdigans Inc. on YouTube, where we cover anime and manga every day. You can find me on Twitter right here, where we are doing our continued coverage of Assassin's Creed, Shadows debacle, as well as other shenanigans. On Patreon, we which is patreon.com/packergirl, we are covering the 100 Girlfriends, and we finished up the Dragon Ball Daima sub coverage, but we are still covering the dub, which I am enjoying, surprisingly, minus a few parts or a few voices, but it's pretty good. Otherwise, on the bounding front, I do have a lot of Dragon Ball related articles to write. I finished up a Ghost in the Shell article that is really, really interesting. Hopefully you guys stay tuned for that, because oh my god, it's very hard. You'll see it, what Oshi said has to say about a certain voice actor that passed away last year. But anyways, other than that, I don't think there's anything else, unless we're doing a Pokemon podcast this week. Are we, Jacob?
Probably not, because unfortunately I got 3 movies we're gonna be catching up on, so my weekend's gonna be pretty packed.
Okay, so then there's that.
The special release of Amelia Perez, the IMAX of Amelia Perez.
I probably got it, and I probably got to write another article about like the Demon Slayer release date, because I do have the press release for that, and probably Haikyuu.
That came into us right before we went live. I saw that.
Yeah, I probably got to do the Haikyuu announcement too, because that was I think that was yesterday.
Did we lose sound?
No, I think
something went weird there, because we can't hear.
We
hear
lost
Nerdigans
your
now,
sound.
and
Nerdigans.
I
We
heard
can't
that.
hear you.
I heard that like pop.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, no audio. Okay, are you all
Nerdigans
set?
died. That's how the show ended.
She's on her way back to her home planet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we'll jump to Jacob. All right, Jacob, where do we find you?
Find me at Society Reviews. Find me at on the YouTube, on the site, on the Twitter. I'll be a bunch of places. I got 3 movie reviews coming. Well, technically, I got 4 movie reviews. I did see Novocaine early, so I got 4 movie reviews coming out this week. So I'll be busy. Sunday, we have the next episode of The Bible Lens. We're going to talk about if the next pope will be the last pope. We'll be looking in that conspiracy coming up pretty soon here. That's on Sunday show, and then Tuesday we'll be back around with the bar room. So go check us out on all those platforms.
All right, and Spencer, where do we find you?
Yeah, as always, guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's always a pleasure. It's the highlight of our Wednesdays. Hopefully, you'll join us next week for another episode of the 01 stream. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, you can catch me on boundingintocomics.com, where we've got new news going up every day. And yeah, check out everybody here. Make sure you follow what Cider is doing for the site and for everything else. And I will see you all next week.
And yeah, so as I said, we'll probably be doing a stream tomorrow. to kind of talk about this, or Friday. We'll see what happens. Don't know who's going to be available for it, but in the meantime, we wish you all good luck out there.